The stream. My name is Brian Craig. This is where Manga comes to talk. Just got to the radio station. I am setting up now. We'll be on the air, I don't know, probably about 25 minutes from now. Welcome, one and all. This is just a great day of winning. Isn't it? Doesn't get better than this. It really doesn't. An excellent day of winning. Hey guys, I'm just setting up here. Okay.
Was on the team.
Welcome, one and all. Absolutely.
That created that manufactured intelligence assessment that led.
Okay, testing 1, 2. I gotta fix this. Yes, I'm at the radio station today, so I'm setting things up for here. And since I'm not here every day anymore, things aren't always in place, so. Okay. Welcome, everybody. I cannot believe it's Thursday already. I'm in shock that it's Thursday already.
Now I want to tell you guys, if you're on the air, what's your name? Where are you calling? deal with someone who doesn't. Now I want to tell you guys, if you want to get a good night's sleep, get your. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you going?
I'm setting everything up, guys. Sorry, it takes a lot to get set up here.
DeSantis and the state of Florida have allocated 200.
Okay, 1 2 1 2.
Hear ye, Tom.
You're on the air. What's your name? If you're a Medicare recipient,
1 2.
more about the term 65. Listen up. I want to talk to you about Medicare.
Okay, so we got all that set up. What have I forgotten? We'll be live in about 20 minutes. All right. What else do I have to do? Oh, yes. One, two, testing. Okay. All right, and we are ready to go. All set up. It takes a little while because I'm not here. If I'm here every day, most of it's kind of set up already. Oh, got a letter from a listener. Brian Craig got a letter here. A real letter. Oh, that was very nice. Nice little letter from a listener. Oh, I was looking for this. My flip camera. This is a camera from like 2003. This is like one of the best, coolest cameras. It's like a VHS quality recording, but you just boom, press. I'm sure it's charged. Yeah, see, it's got the screen. You can see me in the screen. Isn't that cool? It's a cool camera. I love it. This is one of the best vlogging cameras you'll find anywhere. I'm going to Halloween Horror Nights. I'll probably take this one to Halloween Horror Nights. Mm-hmm. Oh boy, welcome everyone. Yeah, that's a camera from like 03, 04. I had one when they were new, and they were not cheap, and I got that one on eBay for $10 or $12. And it works great. Records for about 2 hours. Now the recording quality is about that of a VHS recording, but so what? Oh, we're having a great time. Well, what are you supposed to do when it comes to farms? I'm just making sure I forwarded the phones here to the radio station. Yep. And I did. Welcome, everyone. All right. Well, when you have so many, one of the biggest, yep, this is the radio station I'm at. One of the biggest, if you go on my channel, I've done some tours of the radio station here. If you go to some of the biggest issues, right, that we got to take care of, one of them's food prices. If you deported all the farm workers right now, what would that do to food prices? It's not that they're going to be here forever, but you just prioritize. You got to do a transition. So you deport the people from other places first. You leave the farm workers till last. That's all. What's the, Now all of a sudden liberals are wanting deportations. I don't know what that means. Liberals don't know. They've just lost their minds. They don't know what they stand for. They stand for nothing. All right. Well, we got a lot to cover. A lot to cover today. I can't wait. MAGA Nation. That's right, Billy B. It's a MAGA Nation. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. We'll be live, I don't know, about 10 minutes. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Yep, we'll be taking calls. The toll-free number is pinned in the live chat when we go live. This is kind of getting a little early view of what's happening. Exactly, Daryl Turner. Exactly. I'm looking at Fort Pierce, where the grand jury is at. It's 54 miles north of the radio station. So it's a bit of a drive. It's in St. Lucie County. Yep. Oh, wow, I'm going to go over this on the air. So listen to this. So the grand jury, the Pam Bondi grand jury, was reported to be in Fort Pierce. President Trump has, every election he's won that county. It's Bryan Mass District. Mm-hmm. We got about 4 or 5 minutes. I might have to set up on my own. Mike's not here. He'll come in. He'll be here. Okay, where's the mouse for that one? Okay, then one more thing.
From the Kalea Pain Relief Weather Center, the only pain relief cream that blocks pain and reduces inflammation within 3 minutes or less. Here's your oldies forecast.
Today will be thunderstorms to the high of 85 degrees. Until the evening, a chance of thunderstorms in the low of 82 degrees. On Friday, northeast storms with a high of 86 degrees. And on Friday night, thunderstorms with a chance of thunderstorms a low of 83 degrees.
Weather brought to you by Kalea Pain Relief Cream. Is pain robbing you of your quality of life? If you answered yes, you have to try Kalea Pain Relief. Kalea Pain Relief Cream relieves arthritis, joint, and muscle pain better than anything you've ever tried. Kalea, get back to doing what you love. Now available in your local public supermarket in the pharmacy section. And now, a True Oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
Norfolk Boulevard remains shut down this morning at Beeline Highway. As you're detouring around that location, you can expect heavy delays. Leave extra travel time. There's construction Forest Hill Boulevard and Haverhill Road. Spot something on the roads, call the traffic tip line. 50 keyword westbound traffic on Ron Mercy.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. BBKC is the place to be this week. Poker, table games, super OTV action, and incredible dining at the Paddock. Watch and wager on the top tracks from around the country, including big races from New York, Kentucky, and California. Don't miss Saratoga Racing now through September 1st. Paddock brings you 140 plus HD TVs, giant screens, outwater food, a 4-star, and service that makes you feel like a winner. PBKennelClub.com for more fun.
Your home is your sanctuary. It's where you feel safe, relaxed, and protected. But what if something were to happen? What if your family was in danger? At Sloman's Home
Here we go.
Security, we understand that you want to feel secure in your own home. That's why we're dedicated to providing top-notch security systems and services to keep you and your loved ones safe. From 24/7 monitoring to cameras and motion sensors, our state-of-the-art technology helps you stay ahead of potential threats. Rest easy knowing you're protected by Sloman's Home Security. Imagine coming home to everything just as you left it. Imagine knowing that your family is safe and secure thanks to Sloman's Home Security. Don't just imagine it, make it a reality. Contact Sloman's Home Security today, right here in Florida, to schedule your free consultation and take the first step towards a safer, more secure tomorrow. Sloman's Home Security, protecting what matters most. Sloman's Home Security. Call 1-833-283-5050.
Here we go, guys.
That's 1-833-283-5050. Or visit.
It is showtime in seconds. We got a lot to cover. Here we go.
Since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
All righty, it sure is. Welcome, one and all. I cannot believe it is Thursday already. We have so much to cover. My name is Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. And we're going to cover so much today on the program, I'm here to tell you. This week, it feels like it should only be Tuesday, because it's gone by so quick, not Thursday. And that's because this has been pretty much the best MAGA week on record. I mean, it's just been nonstop winning for President Trump and the whole MAGA movement, which is a big win for the United States. And of course, the liberals are having meltdowns. So I'm going to go through some of the news stories today, including there was another coup against President Trump that we were not aware of until yesterday, which we're going to get into. I talked about it on my podcast yesterday, but I'm going to bring it up here on the radio this morning because it's so important, and a whole bunch more as well. But we got some really good news. You know, John Solomon yesterday gave us some of the best news we could have gotten yesterday afternoon, and John Solomon, with just the news, he's amazing. He's also on Real America's Voice, but he's with Just the News, which is a very good online news website, justthenews.com. Check it out, because this guy deserves all the publicity he can get. And he's a very credible newsman. And John Solomon has been... I keep calling, he probably wouldn't like this because, you know, those who know that they're not good people, but he's the Woodward and Bernstein of the Obama coup story. And the administration, the Justice Department, the White House, they've been leaking all of their information to John Solomon. And I remember years ago, I think he was with the Washington Times, and I've seen him over the years, but it will be 3 weeks tomorrow, I believe. 3 weeks tomorrow or 4 weeks tomorrow. I think it'll be 3 weeks on Friday that he was the first one to tell us that this major criminal investigation was coming. Remember, he was at Turning Point USA in Tampa, John Solomon. And this is when all these idiots went on stage and started talking about Epstein and all this stuff and caused all kinds of problems. And that Friday evening, he was on television, and he says, my sources are telling me, he says, MAGA people, stand by. He said, my sources are telling me that next week we are going to get a big drop. There's a major criminal investigation going on of the lawfare people against Trump that goes back 10 years. And then a week later to the day is when Tulsi Gabbard released the first declassified document. So I think it was 3 weeks ago. It'll be 3 weeks tomorrow that he did that. And all of John Solomon's reporting throughout this Obama coup conspiracy period has been 100% accurate. So when John Solomon says something, you got to listen and take it to the bank. And John Solomon gave us just incredible news yesterday. Let me pull this up and share it with you. I was very excited to hear this. Listen.
I think the three places to look are New York and Washington just for assisting grand juries, but not for bringing indictments. It's common that prosecutors use multiple grand juries because of where people live, save the travel costs. I think the big banana grand jury, the one that will decide on indictments, will probably be put in Fort Pierce, Florida, which is the same area where President Trump's Mar-a-Lago classified documents case was brought and ultimately dismissed. The reason for that is that's where the most recent acts of an ongoing conspiracy may have been committed, which is that's where the raid on Mar-a-Lago was authorized from, where Jack Smith did his work.
Awesome.
Where it was determined that Jack Smith wasn't lawfully impaneled as a special prosecutor. That's an important act. And where there are now concerns, according to the Office of Special Counsel, the whistleblower office, that Jack Smith may have engaged in election politics while operating as a prosecutor. So the reason that's important is if you do the most current events and you can panel the grand jury in Florida for charging purposes, all the things that can go all the way back to 2016 can flow through that one grand jury as the charging instrument. And the way we're gonna see this evolve is that we've already had grand juries, right? We had John Durham do grand juries.
Okay, so what John Solomon is reporting, this is exciting as it gets. What he's reporting is that the grand jury in the Obama coup conspiracy case, which covers all the lawfare, going back to that wiretap on Trump Tower and the fake FISA warrants and all this stuff, that the main grand jury is out of the federal courthouse in Fort Pierce, Florida. This is like a dream come true. Liberals have been judge shopping forever, and now Republicans are judge shopping, and it's fine. The Fort Pierce federal courthouse, where the grand jury is, according to John Solomon in the Obama coup conspiracy, this is where Judge Cannon's courtroom is, right? She's the Trump-appointed judge that handled the documents case from Mar-a-Lago, and the golf course assassin trial is in her courtroom. So they say you can indict a ham sandwich in a grand jury. Fort Pierce, it's amazing to me that Fort Pierce is becoming the center of really history being made, and that is freeing our country from the tyranny of the Washington elite. And if the grand jury's in Fort Pierce, that means the trials are going to be there. And whoever's on that grand jury, we don't know because it's secret, but I do know this. Fort Pierce is the county seat for St. Lucie County. And St. Lucie County is MAGA country. President Trump has won St. Lucie County in the past 3 elections. It is a majority Republican district. It is a MAGA town. And you could not judge shop better or jury shop better than Fort Pierce, Florida. This is awesome. And St. Lucie County, I looked it up. It's 54 miles north of the radio station. And I might go up there and make a YouTube video of the town and everything and show it all to you guys at some point when I get a chance to go up there. I might have to stay that night. It's a long drive. Because I want to, really show you guys the town, the MAGA town where this Pam Bondi grand jury is at. And since Pam Bondi is a Floridian, she knows, okay? And when you get to Martin County, you get to St. Lucie County. St. Lucie County is where my wife and I were going to move a couple years ago. It is MAGA town. It's MAGA town. And when my wife and I, we did not move to St. Lucie County for a couple of reasons, but interest rates and HOAs, and they have the highest property taxes in the state of Florida, which is crazy, in St. Lucie County. But anyway, regardless of all that, when I went, we were looking to move into a new community. And those of you in St. Lucie County know tradition. It was new construction, but people are already living there. And when I went to St. Lucie County house hunting, I wore my MAGA gear. I wore MAGA hats and MAGA shirts. And I went on the weekends to look. And the reason I did that was very purposeful. I wanted to see the reaction that I got in St. Lucie County to my MAGA gear, because I don't want to move to some snowflake neighborhood. And I went into Starbucks, and I always take off my MAGA gear when I go into Starbucks, but it was filled with people wearing MAGA hats. I've never seen anything like that in a Starbucks before. So I was like, wow, and I got nothing but positive. So it is St. Lucie County, where the Pam Bondi grand jury is a MAGA town, man. It is a MAGA town. I was a little nervous because the story of the grand jury broke right after Judge Janine's confirmation went through. So she is not the acting, she is the United States Attorney for the District of Columbia. And I thought, well, they were waiting for her, and I'm like, I don't mind her. Would be a great person to prosecute these cases. But the jury pool in the DC area sucks. But now we know it's in MAGA country. That's right. Fort Pierce, Florida. Thanks to John Solomon. And that is an exciting thing. I got to tell you guys, I am as excited gets. I don't know which mouse to use here. Hold on. Is it this mouse? Okay. We have so many computers here at the radio station. I don't know which mouse is for which screen. I have 3 screens, and there's a different mouse for each screen. So I didn't know what. Okay, I got it. Okay, here we go. We'll go to break in just a moment. But this could not be better. You know, the liberals always judge shop, always. And, you know, I've been talking a lot this week. For the first time under President Trump's leadership, as the leader of the party, as the president, the Republicans are behaving like you're supposed to behave when you're in charge. They're governing and running the country like we're the majority, which we are. And if the Democrats can judge shop, we can judge shop. So, and, you know, Fort Pierce, Florida is within the listening range, of course, of our radio station. We have a lot of listeners in that jury pool area, and they're good people. They really are. I love that Port St. Lucie, Fort Pierce, St. Lucie County. You know, no one's heard of these places really outside of Florida, but they will. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. We've got so much to cover. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Now, guys, I have been telling you about this incredible special on the MyPillow slippers. The regular price of the MyPillow My Slippers is $149.98. But if you go to our website, which I'm going to give you in a moment, and use our promo code Kane when you call the number I'm going to give you, you can get the MyPillow slippers not for $149.98, 2 cents shy of $150, but just for $39.98, which is a $110 savings. And I've been telling you guys this week, go and order while they still have your size in stock. And I know some of you just think, oh, Brian's just, you know, trying to do a strong call to action and scare us. They're starting to run out of sizes. And the women's, women, you can go there and there's one size they're out of, which is for women that have huge feet. But the men's sizes are starting to run out in different colors and styles. So, yeah. So after the weekend, I told you guys, this is a hot sale. And I want to thank all of you out there, by the way, who have been buying the MyPillow My Slippers with our promo code Kane at this incredible price, because the reason they're starting to run out of different sizes is because you guys in this audience have been buying them. This has been an exclusive sale for our listenership. Okay, so go to our private MyPillow page. Is the only place you're going to find this special, which is mypillow.com/Kane, Kane, $110 off. mypillow.com/Kane, and you got to use Kane, Kane, at checkout for the deal. You can also order directly over the phone, 1-800-716-4879. Now, I'll tell you, when you call, while it may show they're out of your size on the website, when you call, that may not be the case. So call the number and find out. But they are starting to run out of sizes, so don't wait. 1-800-716-4879, $110 off the MyPillow My Slippers. 1-800-716-4879, promo code Kane, Kane. We'll be right back after this.
This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
All right. Oh, Mike is running late today, so it's a good thing I came to the radio station or I wouldn't be on the air.
Tire and Margate on both new and used tires. New tires as low as $70 a tire. That's out the door and on the road. Because Friendly Tire doesn't charge you to balance the tire or mount the tire. They have thousands of used tires in stock too, starting at just $30. Call for a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445.
Hi, Julia's listeners. It's Jupiter Joe here. Let's face it, times are tough. You've worked hard for your money, and now more than ever, you need to protect your money and make it last. Now is the time to review your 401k, IRA, or money you want to protect and make safer. Go to JupiterJoe.com. Let's talk about retirement, or call 561-743-0999. Again, JupiterJoe.com.
On the line, we have Bruce. Bruce is a client of Jupiter Joe Thomas. He heard me talking with Joe Thomas about annuities and what a great deal they are. And he went in with his wife, and now he's a client. Hey, Bruce, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Brian.
So tell me about your experience with Jupiter Joe Thomas.
Fine, gentlemen. We sat down with Joe, and we explained everything to him, and we wrote all our information, and he worked everything out great.
The cool thing about annuities is your money's never at risk. You're guaranteed a revenue stream for the rest of your life, but there's a bonus, really a signing bonus, where you can make a boatload of money before you even leave Joe Thomas's office. Can you talk a little bit about that, Bruce?
Well, that's where I was surprised when we sat down. We talked about the bonuses, and to my amazement, it was 10%, and there was even another one that's bigger.
Wow, that's amazing. So you made 10% on your money before you even got back in your car.
Yeah, it was more than that, but it was great.
Listen, guys, do what Bruce did. Give Jupiter Joe Thomas a call. You can set up a free consultation either on the phone or in the office, and Joe Thomas will put together a custom proposal just for you. His number is 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And online at JupiterJoe.com. All right, Bruce, thanks so much.
All right, thank you, Brian.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at TrueOldiesFLA.com.
All righty, callers on hold. Stand by. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Our number toll free 1-888-465-2631. So we started the morning off with some incredible news. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. It's Jerome from California. How you doing?
All right, Jerome.
Hey, you like how you don't have any power?
I have no idea what you're talking about. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Okay. Yes. Okay. All right. See, you know, this is an interesting thing because yesterday I was watching Peter Navarro speak. All right. And Peter Navarro was speaking in front of the White House. I know these callers, you know. And did you see this, Peter Navarro? I love Peter Navarro. We've had him on the show many, many times. And he's one of those guys that has been persecuted by the lawfare people, the Obama people, the Biden people. They arrested him. Did really just terrible things to him. They put him in John Hinckley's cell, laughed at him. They put Peter Navarro in shackles. I'm not kidding. They actually put him in shackles. And now here he is having a press conference in front of the White House. It was pretty amazing, right? I mean, he was a political prisoner. I thought we didn't have political prisoners in the United States. But you know what? We do have political prisoners in the United States. And Peter Navarro was one of them. And I was watching Peter Navarro at this great press conference yesterday. It was right before the Tim Cook Apple thing in the Oval Office with the president. And he was talking about all these great things going on. And then he goes to this idiot, the Caitlin Collins, and she was doing what these liberal callers do, right? She was asking him questions about anything other than what was in the news and what they were talking about to divert away. So that's the new liberal tactic. Try to get a dialogue going about anything other than what the stories of the day are or the accomplishments of President Trump are. They're propagandists. Now, before we get back to the Washington stuff and the Trump news, I want to bring this up because I'm going to forget if I don't. And I really hope to hear some feedback on this from people in the audience. I went to Publix yesterday. And those of you that are outside of Florida, Publix is the big grocery chain here in Florida. And I know there's other places to go for shopping, but I like Publix. When I was in high school, I worked at Publix. I was a bag boy. I was a stockman. I would run the register when I got busy. And I worked there in high school. And then I worked there for a couple of months when I first started in radio because, you know, I didn't know. I was doing, they called it an internship. So I was working for free for a couple of months. And I kept the job while there, but then only a couple of months later I left it. And I go into Publix yesterday, and I was on the phone with my wife because there was a couple of things we needed. So I was out, so I went in and got it. And I don't really go to the store that often anymore in person. 99% of the things that my wife and I shop for, we do through whether it's Amazon or DoorDash or Instacart or something. And the reason we do that is a couple of reasons. You guys know my wife is disabled and she's not able to leave the house. My wife is pretty much homebound, so she can't go shopping even with me. It's very difficult. So we do everything online, and I'm just too busy to go. But sometimes you need something. So I go into Publix yesterday, and a lot of these stores, since we do all of our shopping online now, certainly for like the last 5 years for sure, right? You know, during the lockdown period is when this really started to take over. I haven't been into a lot of the stores that I would regularly go into years ago, in some instances for years. And I go into this Publix yesterday, and you know, they have the pictures of the managers on the wall by the customer service area. And sometimes I'll notice somebody that I every once in a while I'll go into a Publix and see a guy that I was a bag boy with or something somewhere, and he's like a store manager now. You know, but I walked by, I saw the manager's pictures on the wall. And the store manager, and this is no joke, I'm not exaggerating this at all, it caught my eye because, and then I looked at the name, I would not have known that the store manager was a man if his name wasn't under his photo on the wall. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that he's trans or anything, but he's a soy boy. He's a soy boy. And I mean, I really could not tell that he was a man, but it had his name underneath it. And I said, okay. And I was on the phone with my wife, and I told her what I'm going to tell you now. I told her about the picture, like I just said. And I remember when I was in high school and I worked at Publix, the store managers, a lot of them were pretty scary. A lot of them were good old boys, because this is Florida, you know, and they were not soy boys. The managers were tough guys. And I saw this guy, and I'm like, how can this guy be a manager of a place like this? It was such a, and because I haven't been into a lot of these stores in years, because we do everything with home delivery since the shutdown period so much, when I go into a store, it's almost like a guy that's been in prison for 5 years. He gets out of prison and the world's changed. So you see these changes are so shocking. And I have been told, and I'll throw this out to you guys. I have been told that the soy boy thing is not a myth, that it's true. And what I mean by that is, this is what I've been told. Now, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist. So if anybody knows about this, I would certainly welcome your calls. Is it true that drinking soy milk causes men to produce estrogen? And I know a lot of these millennials and Gen Zs, they're into their soy milk. You know, I go to Starbucks, but I don't get that soy stuff put in my coffee. But is the soy milk really turning these guys into effeminate people? And is this, and this guy that I couldn't tell if he was a man or a woman, this store manager at this Publix yesterday, he doesn't mean to be androgynous and he's not transitioning, but you can't tell. It could have been Rachel Maddow. It could have been a man. I couldn't tell if it wasn't for the name. Is this feminization that you see in guys? And I really feel bad for women. I mean, women out there, young women, their pool of guys to choose from for husbands is pretty weak. But is this effeminate thing that I saw with this Publix manager yesterday? Is this from soy milk? Is it from the media? And is this the norm now? Is this what men are like that have jobs like this? You can't tell if they're a man or a woman. And I know a lot of you guys and ladies, I say guys in a non-gender way, they're trying to do away with that. But those of you that live and have grown up here in the great state of Florida, the greatest state in America, you know exactly what I mean. You know, Florida in the 80s, even in the 90s, was where tough guys were. And nothing wrong with being a good old boy, and a lot of good old boys and all of that, and tough guys. And those of you that are Publix shoppers, you know what I mean. You know, these store managers, you don't mess. I was scared of a couple of the store managers I had. They were very intimidating. Not this guy. This guy wouldn't intimidate anyone. You know, I can remember I had a couple of store managers. They would catch people shoplifting, and they would catch them. They would chase them across the parking lot themselves and stop them like big balls in D.C. I'm telling you. And they'd bring them back to the store and call the police. Sometimes they wouldn't call the police, but they would really rip them and make them sign a paper that they'll, if they come back, you know, the trespassing papers and all this stuff. This guy, this soy boy store manager I saw yesterday, he wouldn't be able to stop a 6-year-old kid who was shoplifting. The managers I used to have when I was working there in high school, they would chase gangbangers across the street who were shoplifters and bring them back to the store on their own. These were tough guys. So what is going on? Is it really the soy milk, or is that just an expression? Why are these guys so girly? Now, we'll take our break for the bottom. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. I'm going to get back into the political news after the bottom of the hour break, but this was really a shocking thing to me. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. Our number is 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. My name is Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Radio Show. There was another coup against President Trump that we did not know about. I'm going to get to that in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Hey, it's Scott on the radio, reminding you that your favorite oldies are back on the air right after 10 a.m. this morning on the True Oldies channel.
From the Kalea Pain Relief Weather Center, the only pain relief cream that blocks pain and reduces inflammation within 3 minutes or less. Here's your oldies forecast.
A chance of thunderstorms in the low of 82 degrees. On Friday, northeast storms with a high of 86 degrees. And on Friday night, thunderstorms with a chance of thunderstorms a low of 83 degrees.
Weather brought to you by Kalea Pain Relief Cream.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. I was like,
yes, you have to try Kalea Pain.
What is going on here
Kalea Pain Relief
with that?
Cream relieves arthritis, joint, and muscle pain better than anything you've ever tried. Kalea, get back to doing what you love. Now available in your local Publix supermarket in the pharmacy section. And now, a True Oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
Make sure you subscribe if you're new to the program.
After Jogn Road, Norfolk Boulevard still shut down at Beeline Highway. Spot something on the roads, call the traffic tip line, pound 250 keyword westbound traffic on Rogers.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. It's a sizzling summer in the poker room in PBKC. Check out new and exciting daily tournaments, plus the popular $100,000 guaranteed Monster Multi-Flight coming up August 7th through the 10th. Win big with August high hands every 15 minutes, every day, a $15,000 cash giveaway, and $100,000 progressive weekends. Plus, Mega Bad Beat jackpots and table games. Poker thrills this August. For more fun, go to pbkennelclub.com.
Hey guys, Brian Craig here. Get this. The My Slippers, the regular price is $149.98. But right now, just for our listeners, they're $39.98. That's a $110 savings, but just for our listeners. To get this incredible deal just for you, head over to mypillow.com/Kane. Kane. mypillow.com/Kane. And use our promo code Kane at checkout. Do it now while they still have your size in stock.
Hi, this is Maureen Coleman from Nutrition World Palm Beach Gardens. We're so excited to be celebrating 50 years here in South Florida. The Coleman family started their first health food store in 1972, and ever since have been one of the largest locally owned family-run health food stores in the area. We carry thousands of supplements like vitamins, minerals, herbs, homeopathic, diet and fitness, and so much more. All your favorite top-quality brands.
Hello?
We also have tons of natural foods like gluten-free, paleo, and
Hold on.
as well as health and beauty needs, pet
Oh,
foods,
okay.
and more.
I just heard from Mike. He's on his way.
They're here 7 days a week for all your family's natural health needs. So stop by Nutrition World at the northeast corner of PGA Boulevard and Prosperity Farms Road in the Carmine's Market Plaza at the Prosperity entrance. You can call us or text us anytime at 561-626-4377. That's 626-4377. Or check out our website at nutritionworld.com. Come see us 7 days a week at Nutrition World, Palm Beach Gardens.
Hey, Brian Craig here. You hear me talk with attorney Barry Siegel every day about how we can help you and your family. Now here's one of our listeners, Frances, sharing her experience of how attorney Barry Siegel made a difference in her life and took a weight off her shoulders.
I was really looking for something to help me secure my holdings, which is actually not a whole bunch of bank account savings and a house and a car for my 2 daughters. I was worried that if I had just a regular will, things would get tied up in probate and that would take 2 years. So I heard on the radio about Barry Siegel, the attorney. I gave them a call and immediately they were so kind. They were so nice. They assured me that they could help. I went over there and they sat with me and we went over everything and I ended up with this wonderful trust for my 2 daughters. So if something does happen to me, things just turn over to them and it'll make it so much easier for them. And it took a great load off of my mind as to how I would take care of my 2 daughters. I was very pleased with the attorney Barry Siegel. Finding him helped me assure that my 2 daughters will be well taken care of in the event that I won't be here.
Give attorney Barry Siegel a call right now. Toll free 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782. And online, SiegelLawGroup.com.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 49 years on the air.
All right, callers on hold. You stand by. Our number toll free 1-888-465-2631. Okay, so we found out that the Pam Bondi Obama coup conspiracy grand jury, according to John Solomon, is in Fort Pierce, Florida. MAGA country, a MAGA city, and a MAGA county, and MAGA Florida. It is a beautiful thing. And one of the people that we suspect is going to be charged in this grand jury, of course, is James Clapper, who was part of the coup against President Trump. But the director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, dropped something really big yesterday about Clapper, that he was involved in something I had not heard that he was involved in before. And even liberals, they might get involved in this. Listen, this is Tulsi Gabbard. She's talking about James Clapper. This is so big.
James Clapper was on the team that created, that manufactured intelligence assessment that led to the Iraq War, about the Iraq WMDs. He writes about it in his book, saying that he and his team of intelligence analysts created something that was not there. when you look at his actions then, and you look at his actions in 2016 as Obama's director of national intelligence, you see someone who has no problem whatsoever politicizing and manufacturing and weaponizing intelligence for a political outcome.
Wow. I mean, that is big. And it really shows you how before Trump came down the escalator and took over the Republican Party, how the Republican and Democrats, were not really on opposite side of things, right? They were because that was during the G.W. Bush administration. So James Clapper, it looks like he might be like the ringleader because he had a history of this. And Tulsi Gabbard says he was bragging about it, that he crafted the lies of WMDs in Iraq. How many people are dead because of that? How many people have lost limbs or sons or daughters or have half their body melted? How many people in the Middle East have had their lives turned upside down because of that WMD lie? And, those of us that are Republican, we supported George W., but we didn't know that Bush and Cheney were that. We found out later that George W. Bush and Dick Cheney are war criminals. And Clapper was involved in one of the greatest crimes in the history of the United States, a war crime. He's a war criminal. Because according to Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence, and she knows these things, he crafted the lie. He helped write the fake intelligence reports that there were WMDs in Iraq. That's a war criminal, man. And he's not the only one. There's a lot of them. But I'll tell you another thing, though. It tells me this is an interesting thing, because there is a big web of people that are involved in all of this lawfare. So I don't know what job he held back then. I'm going to look up and find out. But that means he was working with George W. Bush and Dick Cheney's administration, crafting the WMD lie. So that means he's got a relationship with them. What kind of connection does Clapper have with Liz Cheney, who's a part of the lawfare against the president? I wouldn't be surprised if we got an indictment against her, too, from these grand juries of Pam Bondi's. And so far as the crafting of this fake Russia narrative with President Trump, because Clapper did this with the WMDs, he had to be the front man with the Russia fake narrative, because he'd already done it. They did a good job of selling that to the American people. We all believed it. He sent Colin Powell to the UN and everything else, right? The WM, remember that? They didn't just say there's WMDs and we went. They did they released the phony intelligence, which we didn't know was phony. And then they did this huge campaign. And there was one thing those of you that are longtime listeners have probably heard me mention this a couple of times. Most of us did not know that they made up the WMD story, right? And now this is news to me that Clapper was involved in it. And he brags about it. There was one person in the country who was running around saying there are no WMDs in Iraq, and he had a lot of credibility. Scott Ritter. Remember that? Scott Ritter was a UN weapons inspector and had been to Iraq as a UN weapons inspector. And he's an American, and he was on television on all these shows saying they're lying, there's no WMDs in Iraq. While Clapper and Bush and Cheney and these people were pushing this phony story about WMDs. We didn't know it was phony at the time, but it was. We now know. And then one day, I get up in the morning to do my show prep, and there's some raid on Scott Ritter's house, and they got him up on some pretty bad charges. He's a free man now, but they got him on some pretty bad stuff. And knowing everything we know now, you got to wonder, was that some deep state operation? Not only can they monitor your computers, they can plant things on them. So, and Scott Ritter had a lot of credibility. He was on all the liberal shows, MSNBC, all the time. And he had a lot of credibility because he was a UN weapons inspector who had been to Iraq. And he was saying there's no WMDs, they're lying. This intelligence is a lie. Remember that? And then all of a sudden, they're walking out of his house with evidence bags. Remember that? And now you got to wonder, did they plant that evidence on him? I don't know, but you got to wonder, right? This guy, James Clapper, he is a bad, bad man. Make no mistake about it. Now, if you're on hold, stand by. We'll get to some calls in a bit. We got so much to cover. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 1-888-465-2631. I want to talk to you guys about, of course, not living with pain anymore. And that's Dr. Philip Appleton and his laser away pain treatment. You know, his laser away pain treatment works on all these different kinds of pains that I talk about all the time. But also if you've been in any kind of accident, a car accident, maybe you fell off a ladder at home, maybe you got hurt when you're out and about. It works on injuries from car accidents and slips and falls too. And I realized that 4 of the times that Dr. Appleton treated me were from accidents. I had 3 different shoulder injuries from falling off my skateboard. My knee injury, the first pain he rid me of, was like 30 years of suffering. That was from a car accident I was in 30 years ago. He rid me of pain. None of the pains have returned. So if you've been in an accident of any kind and you're in pain, go see Dr. Appleton. You know, appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays. His laser treatment works. 4 of the 7 times he's rid me of pain have been from accidents. And I didn't realize this. And Dr. Appleton said, yeah, you know, with car accidents and slips and falls, the laser treats those pains too. And then I realized, yeah, my skateboard accidents, my knee was a car accident. So give him a call. It's painless. In fact, you don't even feel it when it happens. There's no shots, no injections, no drugs, no downtime. Dr. Appleton performs all the laser treatments himself. His number, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. My name is Brian Craig. We'll be back after this.
My name is Dr. Philip Appleton. I'm a chiropractic physician. Over the years, I've treated thousands and thousands of patients from bursitis, tendonitis, sciatica, stenosis, neuropathy, tears, post-surgery, pre-surgery, herniated disc, gout, bone on bone. If you can name the pain, most likely I've treated over the years. Most of my practice is laser with robotic lasers. They're robots which rotates constantly around the area, where most lasers do not do that. So if you want to come in for a free consultation, as always here, welcome at Appleton Chiropractic. I'm here 6 days a week. I personally do all the treatment. You can bring your MRIs, you can bring your x-rays, you can bring your CAT scans, whatever you have to bring for me to look at, I would do that free of charge.
Call Dr. Appleton right now for that free consultation. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. We're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, this is Hank from Hollywood. How you doing?
All right, Hank. What's on your mind?
I called Tom Laporta at Tom Laporta Roots. He sent out Scott. Now, Scott is absolutely the best. Scott and Scott's crew are the absolute best. They gave me a great price. They did the job when they said they were going to do it. They finished the job when they said they were going to do it. The materials they used, absolutely the best. I want to thank Tom.
Now, guys, I put a link pinned in the chat. It's to a couple of books. And the author of this book, he's a dad. He's a regular watcher on YouTube. He's in the YouTube chat quite often, although he doesn't comment too much. And he asked me if I could promote his books. His family is having some financial trouble. And as opposed to doing a crowdfunding, GoFundMe, Kickstarter thing, he's offering his books. The links, by the way, to those books are also in the description of the video, but I pinned the link in the live chat as well. So if you could buy one of those books or both of the books, you would be helping him and his family, and I'd be very grateful, and they'd be grateful too. So just click those links. Again, those links also in the description. If you could buy one or both of them, it would be spectacular, okay? So, and I would appreciate that. And thank you in advance for your support of them. You know, so people ask me for help from time to time, and a lot of times it's a crowdfunding or a Kickstarter. And this is the first time that someone's asked me for some help with their family and actually had something to give you in exchange for it, which I think is really nice. All righty, we are back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. It is Thursday. All right, let's take a couple of calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, conservative Doug.
Oh, hey, Doug.
Man, you're bringing out this Clapper guy. Apparently, he's the guy that you go to when you want dirty things done, and he's been doing this for a long time, apparently. And I'm looking forward to seeing him be in charge, the whole gang. You know, I'm thinking that if this was another a Republican president, not we know, of course, if it was Trump, they would certainly
Well, the fact, you know, Tulsi Gabbard, when Tulsi Gabbard says something, you can take it to the bank, right? It's you know, and she says that Clapper was involved with the phony intelligence reports that Iraq had WMDs. That makes him a war criminal, as well as, I guess, treason. You're a traitor. So he's a war criminal and a traitor. I mean, he's the worst of the worst. I mean, he's a really evil guy, isn't he?
No, it's unbelievable. I never liked that guy. I knew there was something rotten about him, but now you find out that everything I was thinking, it was
Well, I remember when he was was he the national security advisor for Obama yeah, and I remember there was a terrorist attack. He was live on television. He didn't know what happened. There was an attack in London. He didn't know what happened. He was on television, and he didn't know what happened. And I wondered why this incompetent has these jobs. He doesn't have these jobs because of his competency. He has these jobs because he's willing to do crime, apparently. Some pretty big ones, too.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you hit it right on the head, man. That's certainly what this guy is all about. You can see he's a compulsive liar, a plotter, a disgusting person. And, you know, like I was saying, if it was a Republican, any Republican president, they'd all be looking for jail time. I think everybody should be brought in, and if they're not, man, I'm really disappointed. I think everything's going to happen. It's just a matter of time now. That the grand jury is in Florida. If it was in D.C., I'd say, oh, man, this is tough. But in Florida, these people must be panicking. They must be panicking.
Well, this is not where they do not want a grand jury in Fort Pierce, Florida, in St. Lucie County. President Trump has won the last 3 elections in that county. It is a MAGA. Now, years ago, it used to be Democrat. But it wasn't these Democrats like these retired New Yorkers, okay, at Century Village. They were the old school Democrats, because that's the deep South. You know, Fort Pierce, Florida, because I've been going to Fort Pierce since I was a kid. And that is, it's the South. It's not like Miami or Fort Lauderdale or Palm Beach. It's the South.
Okay, I've never been there.
I haven't been there in a long time, but I might go there soon just to check it out. I haven't been there in a while. I drive by the exit on the Turnpike a lot, and I go to the Fort Pierce rest stop on the Turnpike, but I haven't actually been to Fort Pierce proper in a long time. But it's where the good old boys, you know, kind of people are at. It's not Broward County type place.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping there won't be any Democrats on the jury, but because I talked to 2 Democrats, and I just asked them quickly. I said, let me ask you, if you get called for jury duty and you think all the evidence sounds good, would you go against your Democrats? And one of them said, absolutely not. Oh no, we stick together.
Oh yeah. Well, so they're criminals. They're corrupt criminals. All right, appreciate the call. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey.
Okay, yeah. You know, if you're on hold, hang in there. You know, the way this is going to go down is we are going to get some pretty major indictments that come out of this with some household names. And what we're going to find is a small little town, Fort Pierce, is going to be the center of attention. Now, if you're on hold, hang in there. We'll take some more calls in just a little bit, but so much is happening, okay? So we got that information from Tulsi Gabbard. We, that that James Clapper was not just involved with crafting the phony Russian intelligence in the coup, but that he was also involved in authoring the fake intelligence reports that there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. We got from John Solomon that the big grand jury is right here in Florida in St. Lucie County, Fort Pierce, where Judge Cannon's courtroom is. That's great news. And then Catherine Herridge on Fox broke a big story. There was another coup that we're not familiar with. There's another coup that happened that we did not know about. And this one is pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Let me share her report. Now, the audio quality is not the best on this, but hey, listen, when we have somebody detailing a coup against President Trump, the quality of the audio we're not going to complain about, right? We're lucky to have it. I know, it's insane. What she's going to talk about, it was a coup that happened in Trump's first term that we never heard about before. Happened in Trump's first term. It was a coup attempt after President Trump fired Comey. So Trump fired Comey, and then these evildoers went to work. This is Catherine Herridge, Fox News. Listen to this scary, scary report.
Sean, Baker's testimony matters because he had a pivotal role at the Bureau as the top FBI lawyer. He had the ear of then Director James Comey, and his testimony is at odds with Rosenstein's denials. Last week he told Fox News he couldn't get into it. Mr. Baker, did you handle the dossier? Did you warn Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein that there was exculpatory information before he signed the final surveillance warrant? Mr. Baker, will you take our questions? The Senate sources describe Baker's testimony as forthcoming, deliberate, and sober. Baker telling congressional investigators that he believed then acting FBI Director Andrew McCabe and then FBI lawyer LeeZep when they said Rosenstein's talk about reporting the president and removing him from office was, quote, serious. Baker, who was not at the Justice Department meeting, said Page and McCabe came to him immediately after, and based on what he learned, Baker told investigators he believed Rosenstein was working with two people inside the administration after President Trump fired FBI Director James Comey to invoke the 25th Amendment. Asked about Baker's closed-door interview with Justice Department spokesperson, so they stood by their denials, including this one from Rosenstein. I never pursued or authorized reporting the president, and any suggestion that I have ever advocated for the removal of the president is absolutely false. Rosenstein is expected on Capitol Hill Thursday, but our sources report tonight that there's a lot of internal tension among committee members about the format, with some lawmakers pushing for a transcribed interview with a court reporter and others satisfied by a briefing, but these briefings can often be the subject of misinterpretation, Sean.
Okay, so that's Catherine Herridge. This is really frightening. And, Rod Rosenstein, he was Attorney General briefly. I'd forgotten about him, okay? And I don't think I'm the only one that forgot about him. And that's a name we've not heard in a while. And he's a creepy guy, Rod Rosenstein. And this 25th Amendment coup, Lisa Page is connected with this story, Peter Strzok's girlfriend. They just were... It was just a never-ending harassment of this president. That's really scary how close we came to this. And there was so much effort to... Now here's the thing. With this one, and I hope to get more information on this, the 25th Amendment, that's a little more complex. You have to have the majority of the cabinet and the vice president. So the vice president was Pence at the time. And we've been speculating the last couple weeks that Pence was a part of this coup because of the Flynn firing. That, Flynn was fired because of an event that happened with Pence. And I'm not the only one who speculated on this. A lot of people have said, hey, did Obama have Pence get rid of Flynn? If they were talking about the 25th Amendment, did they have Pence involved at that point? And who else on the cabinet was working with them? They need for the 25th Amendment, you got to have the signature of the vice president and the majority of the cabinet. And I cannot even imagine they would have a discussion about it if they didn't at least have the vice president already. I would not be surprised if we end up seeing an indictment of Pence. Now, our 10th annual MAGA cruise is coming up in March. And I was talking with Ian from Cruise and Travel Depot. While I can't announce the details of this, he is working on the most spectacular shore excursion we have ever had. If you're already booked on the cruise, call Ian. He may tell you about it, maybe give you a little insight. I don't know. It will be limited space on it. So if you're already booked on the cruise, call Ian and let him know you want in on it. Even with you not knowing what it is right now, you will not want to miss this shore excursion. I am so excited about this. I wish I could tell you now. I'm telling you too much already. And if you've not booked on our MAGA cruise already, do it. Lock your spot in. Give Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot a call right now. If you get his voicemail, leave your name and number, and he will call you back. 561-244-5779. 561-244-5779. That's 561-244-5779. And join us on our 10th annual MAGA cruise. All right, 1 hour down, 2 to go. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show. We'll be right back. Hey, what's going on?
WFLM 104.7 HD3 Palm Beach Shores and heard in Broward at 96.9 FM, Boca Raton at 95.3 FM, West Palm Beach at 95.9 FM, and in Martin County on 106.9 FM. We are South Florida's home for the True Oldies channel. From the Kalea Pain Relief Weather Center, the only pain relief cream that blocks pain
Hello?
and reduces inflammation within 3 minutes or less. Here's your Oldies
Hello?
forecast.
Today there will be thunderstorms to the high of 85 degrees and keeping a chance of thunderstorms at a low of 82 degrees. On Friday, northeast storms to the high of 86 degrees. And on Friday night, thunderstorms with a chance of thunderstorms.
Hello?
Weather brought to you by Kalea Pain Relief Cream. Is pain
You there?
robbing you of your quality
Yeah,
of
hold on.
life? If you answered yes, you have to try Kalea Pain Relief. Kalea Pain Relief Cream relieves arthritis, joint, and muscle pain better than anything you've ever tried. Kalea, get back to doing what you love. Now available in your local public supermarket in the pharmacy section. And now, a True Oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
On the turnpike northbound at the exit ramp to Okeechobee Boulevard, the roadway partially blocked. I-95 southbound, the exit ramp to Glades Road, the right lane blocked. North Lake Boulevard still shut down in both directions at Beeline Highway. Spot something on the roads, call the traffic tip line. Down 250 keyword westbound traffic on runners.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. PBKC is the place to be this week. Poker, table games, super OTB action, and incredible dining at the Paddock. Watch and wager on the top tracks from around the country, including big races from New York, Kentucky, and California. Don't miss Saratoga Racing now through September 1st. The Paddock brings you 140 plus HD TVs, giant screens, mouth-watering food, a full bar, and service that makes you feel like a winner. Go to pbkennelclub.com for more fun.
Have you put off buying new tires because you thought they were too expensive? Find friendly prices at Friendly Tire and Margate on both new and used tires. New tires as low as $70.
If you're on hold, stand by.
Because Friendly Tire doesn't charge you to balance the tire or mount the tire. They have thousands of used tires in stock too, starting at just $30. Call for a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
All right, hour number 2 has begun. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Covered a lot in the first hour, and just a lot of scary stuff going on. All right, if you'd like to call in, the number's toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're listening. 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Yes.
Yes, my name is Frank. I'm from the Bronx, transplanted to Martin County.
Oh.
Are you there, Brian?
I am. What's on your mind?
I got a lot on my mind. Just let me get a second here to start it out. First of all, Colin Powell sold weapons of mass destruction. He was a pretty boy general. Everybody loved him. And I recall seeing him on TV, reading about him in the papers, and he had the charts and graphs. And he sold this to the American public and jerks like me that believed him.
I did too. He went to the United Nations in New York and made this very dramatic presentation with PowerPoint presentation and everything. And remember he had the little vial in his hand of the poison. And we're finding now that James Clapper was involved in writing that presentation.
Is Colin Powell still alive?
No, he passed away.
Oh, because I would definitely subpoena him and get his backside in that court.
Remember, they were trying to make him president. They were trying to give him the Republican nomination. That monster.
I would have thought. Well, another thing is also this Rumsfeld. I think he was the defense secretary at the time. This bum was sending out kids out in those Humvees, knowing that the armor plating on those bottoms of those Humvees was so thin and frail that these kids, it was year in and year out, when they rose in the air from those roadside bombs, that would blow their legs off. How's that?
And what happened is, I can't remember 100% which one did this. I know, but I don't want to say because I'm only like 98% sure. One of the major liberal newspapers reported that the Humvees in Iraq did not have armor underneath them, and that's when they started using the IEDs. And I do a monthly donation to Wounded Warriors and Tunnel to Towers, to each of them. And I don't like to brag because my wife and I, we do a lot of I don't like to brag about anything charitable, but it's important to mention because of this discussion. Every time I see one of these guys that is missing his legs, his limbs, or half his body is melted, I think of Bush, I think of Cheney, I think of Colin Powell, and Donald Rumsfeld, and now I'm going to add Clapper to the mix.
Well, one other thing, too, we stood by, the American people, myself, and we watched this human garbage run our country into the ground. And if it wasn't for a man like Trump to come along and resurrect it, and it's people like you that with your just great mouth screaming to the heavens about what's going on. Keep it going. You're the voice of the people. And let me
don't go yet because you're in MAGA Martin County now, but you said you're from New York. I mean, what's your thoughts on this communist Zohan, who everybody just assumes is going to be the mayor of New York? I mean, what?
Garbage. We haven't had good leadership. The only good leadership we ever had in New York. I was a cop in New York for 25 years, and the only good leadership we had is what's his name.
Mayor Giuliani. Well,
You know what, Cajon?
So this is interesting. Okay, so you're a retired New York City police officer. What was your final position with the police department? What'd you do?
Just a street cop.
You're a street. Oh, this is perfect. This is good. And the reason I ask is that means you're not one of those political guys, right? Like Mayor Adams. Okay, so I read a story yesterday out in New York. I can't remember the number, but there are a large number of New York City police officers who have come forward and said they're going to resign if Zohan becomes mayor. What are your thoughts about that, though? Other than terrific is vague. I mean, what does that do? I mean, why would police, when you're a New York City police officer, that is the elite, right? I mean, the NYPD is they're like they're the tops in the world. So to leave the top position of a police officer, which is an NYPD police officer, that's a pretty big deal.
Well, just one statement I want to make. When I first came on, I saw the corruption in New York. And when you become a cop, you roll with it. There are certain things you do that you're ashamed of. But it's the way things are done. It's the way business is carried out. Don't forget, New York is a product of what? Tammany Hall? It still exists to some degree.
Oh, yeah.
Is another bum. We've never had the leadership except for Giuliani.
Yeah, but if you were in New York today and you were voting and you had the choice between this Zohan monster and Mayor Adams, who would you vote for? I'd vote for Mayor Adams. He's a creep, but I'd vote for him over him.
I would go the same way, but he is a creep and he's not good for the city. I don't think he has the brain power to run the city. You have to have brains to run that town. You have to have moxie and shooting it.
Well, a lot of people are saying, and I don't agree with this. A lot of people are saying, let him be the mayor. He'll destroy the city. People will wake up. You know, I don't think they understand. This is worse than Dinkins, right? When Dinkins was mayor before Giuliani, and he was the worst. I mean, he was the Joe Biden of New York City mayors. He was the worst of the worst. However, what this Zohan is about the Islamification of New York City, and they want the Muslims to make a move taking over the political machine of New York City. And this has long-term negative consequences. This would not be, Dinkins was a one and done. That would not be the case with Zohan.
This Muslim movement is a whole pervasive slime sickness that's eroding this country. It's going on right now before our eyes. This man should not even step foot near the Gracie Mansion, this whatever his name is. Mm-hmm. In garbage.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, he is. I appreciate the call. You know, it's pretty scary, this guy, Zohan. And, you know, the problem is, you hear these young guys that call me, you know, you got these young Gen Zers, you know, I was talking about this soy boy Publix manager earlier. You know, you got these soy boys and these Gen Z girls, they don't know jack. They think they're so smart. They think they know everything. They know less than nothing, okay? And I know, you know, historically young people don't know as much as those who are older, but the Gen Z today are the dumbest generation ever, okay, in that age group. And they just don't get it. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
The city.
Hey, Scott.
Yeah, major kudos to that guy ahead of me, big time. I only wonder if he ever knows the story of Serpico. Anyhow, beyond that, this trial that's coming, this investigation that's coming, and it's coming during football season. I remember OJ and the Watergate hearings during football season, but is this what we've got now in front of us? Having so many people involved in so many things and so complex, and Trump's got a thin margin of dominance over the House and the Senate.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a couple things, yes. And I saw today that Marsha Blackburn's going to run for governor. Who's the Republican that's always trying to push her boobs up against President Trump? What's her name? You know who I'm talking about? She's in the you know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, she was. I didn't think it was that funny. It's funny, but she did. No, she tried to do it. I cannot remember her name. She's running for governor. We don't need any of these people to leave the House of Representatives or the Senate. The margins are too thin, and that makes me very nervous. Now, sometimes people run for two offices at once. Some states you can do that in, but we cannot afford to lose these people.
Yeah, if you heard my laughter, you may not have seen what I've seen, but we move on. Yeah, but I just wonder if this is going to get the attention, if it's going to have the success, and that. Which one are you talking about specifically? I'm not sure what you're referencing. Oh, well, my gosh! Look at all these people. They are trying to take a wide shot at a lot of people who did a lot of bad.
No, it's very, actually, I know it seems like a wide shot, but it's not, okay? We've got the Pam Bondi grand jury in Fort Pierce with the Obama coup conspirators, right? That's Brennan, Clapper, Comey, and that crowd. We've got a United States attorney in California is handling Adam Schiff, right, with his mortgage fraud. We got another United States attorney in New York that's handling Letitia James's mortgage fraud. And we've got the governor of Texas handling this redistricting in Texas. And there's a lot going on, but it's it's being handled by individuals separate. It's not like one person's doing it all. You know, so I think, yeah, Nancy Mace, by the way, is the congresswoman who's always trying to push her boobs up against the president, and he avoids it every time. She's kind of creepy, Nancy. Nancy Mace. She's a Republican. She was speaking to a group of Christian women. This was a couple years ago, and it was in the morning, and she started the conversation by telling them that she just had sex in the hotel with her boyfriend that she's not married to. I couldn't believe it. It was so bizarre. She's really Nancy Mace. I know we need every Republican vote, but she's pretty creepy. She's a perv, but she's like a man, right, with the way she handles sex stuff. But anyway, everything is yeah. All right, hey, listen, I appreciate the call. All right, take care. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Al from Illinois.
Hey, Illinois. What's on your mind?
I just wanted to bring up one aspect of all this that hasn't really been discussed that much in the mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
Is the possibility of, at some point in time, some of these cases, I'm not saying all of them, but I'm saying some of the cases that involve treason and things like that be referred to military courts.
No, you don't want that. You don't want military courts in America of civilians. Why would you? A lot of people say that. In what world does that make sense?
Well, I'm saying that it's not what I want. There were several different actions and presidential executive orders and changes to the law of war manual.
What? Okay, I understand. You know, you're in Illinois. Are you? Where in Illinois are you? You're not in the Chicago area, are you?
I'm in Central.
Okay, good. You know, in 1960, Nixon won every place. He won the entire state except Cook County, pretty much. Okay. This judge shopping I was talking about, the grand jury, I spent the first half hour of the show talking about this. The Pam Bondi coup conspiracy grand jury is in Fort Pierce, Florida. They judge shopped, they jury pooled shop. That is the most MAGA place in Florida. It's more MAGA than Martin County. Martin County is in Florida, where Stewart is hardcore MAGA. Port St. Lucie is a level above that. They're like as MAGA as me, so you would do much better in a courtroom in St. Lucie County than you would in a military court where you got a bunch of when you get above major, everything's political. When you get into the flag ranks, generals and admirals, those go through congressional committees. Those promotions, you're dealing with. You might as well have Congress people on the jury. A lot of conservatives have been talking about military tribunals for years. That's a bad idea. First off, you don't want the military to have trials over the civilian population.
Well, if you remember when Lindsey Graham was talking to Kavanaugh during the hearings, They talked a little bit about this subject.
Yep.
In certain cases, these are certain special cases that an American citizen can be defined.
The only time now again, I could be wrong about this, okay? I could be completely wrong about this. There could have been a time since. But the only time, and I probably only know about this because it was a Florida issue. The only time I've seen this, that I know, this was before I was alive, but the only time I know of this happening in recent years was during the Second World War. Some U.S. citizens of German descent went back to Germany and got trained as spies and came here and landed in Florida to commit terrorism during the Second World War. And they got them, and Roosevelt put them up in front of a military tribunal, and they were executed 5 days later. Okay, they were American citizens, but they were working for Nazi Germany. They were coming here to blow up power plants and stuff. I don't know of any instances where, and at least not in modern times, where you have public officials, U.S. citizens, that have been put in front of a military tribunal. That seems a bit extreme to me.
Well, I was just pointing out that I'm not saying I'm for it, I'm against it, or whatever. I agree with most everything you're saying about the civil courts and doing it in Florida and that kind of thing. But just the possibility for some of the cases. And I'm not saying it's for sure. I don't have any inside information except for there were, very real things that Trump did that kind of went under the radar. Like toward the end of his term, the last term, he did make a lot of changes to the.
Okay. Well, listen, I'm late for the break, but I appreciate your call from Illinois. You make some good points. All right. Take care. We'll be right back.
Set sail with Margarita.
Hear ye, hear ye. Tom Laporta here from Laporta Roofing. Floridians, take note. Ron DeSantis and the state of Florida have allocated $280 million for the 25-26 fiscal year to fund new grants under My Safe Florida Home program. This grant is up to $10,000 when you spend $15,000 or more on your project. This may include roofing and wind mitigation systems. Go online at mysafefloridahome.com and get approved before the money is gone. If you need help, please call me, Tom Laporta, 954-604-4602, or find us at laportaroofing.com. It's simple. When you spend $1, the state matches $2 up to $10,000. They send you a check. I know it sounds too good to be true, but it is. So again, call us at 954-604-4602 or find us at laportaroofing.com.
So tell me about your experience with Jupiter Joe Thomas.
I'm fine, gentlemen. We sat down with Joe, and we explained everything to him, and we brought all our information, and he worked everything out great.
The cool thing about annuities is your money's never at risk. You're guaranteed a revenue stream for the rest of your life, but there's a bonus, really a signing bonus, where you can make a boatload of money before you even leave Joe Thomas's office. Can you talk a little bit about that, Bruce?
Well, that's where I was surprised when we sat down. We talked about the bonuses, and to my amazement, it was 10%, and there was even another one that's bigger.
Wow, that's amazing. So you made 10% on your money before you even got back in your car.
Yeah, it was more than that, but it was great.
Listen, guys, do what Bruce did. Give Jupiter Joe Thomas a call. You can set up a free consultation either on the phone or in the office, and Joe Thomas will put together a custom proposal just for you. His number is 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And online at jupiterjoe.com. All right, Bruce, thanks so much.
All right, see you, Brian.
Do you suffer from neuropathy? I did, until I went to Lighthouse Medical Center in Pompano. Numbness, pain, burning, tingling in my hands and feet, muscle weakness, loss of balance, muscle twitching have all but disappeared. Say goodbye to your neuropathy symptoms. Call Lighthouse Medical Center for a free consultation. 754-222-6642. Tell them Steve Kane sent you.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, Harrison Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at TrueOldiesFLA.com.
Alrighty, we are back 22 minutes after the hour. I want to talk about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. And I want to remind you guys, no matter where you are in the United States, Coastal Weight Loss Secret can help. And we've had listeners from all over America call Coastal Weight Loss Secret. And, in this era of telemedicine and everything, today was the first day that I instinctively put my belt on. I've been getting away. I was talking about this a little bit yesterday. I have been going without belts for years because I didn't need them. I was big enough that my pants were being held up without a belt. And when I lost all this weight is when things started falling off, especially if I put my wallet in. I put my wallet that has no money in it because I don't carry cash, so there's not much in it. My wallet, boom, that's it. Pants are down to the floor. You know, it's absolutely amazing. But today was the first day I got up in the morning and I grabbed my pants and I grabbed the belt and put a belt on. So it was it's nice to wear a belt again. I'll tell you another thing too, although I'm not doing it today because of the shirt I'm wearing. Another thing I've been doing that I have not done in a long time is tuck my shirts in. I haven't been tucking my shirts in. And now I can tuck my shirts in and everything else and have a completely flat stomach, and it's super, super cool. I love it. And it's all because of Coastal Weight Loss Secret. And you know, my weight loss, about 1 pound a day, that is typical. That is very common with Coastal Weight Loss Secret. And now, this is to me the most amazing part, because what I was afraid of is that, you know, I didn't know anything about what their program was until I went there. And I was afraid of, okay, I'm going to have to starve myself. I'm going to have to eat. What's that actor that's in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies? What's his name? Chris Pratt. Yeah, he's married to Schwarzenegger. Showing his diet that he had to eat, his daughter. I saw this on Instagram a couple years ago, Chris Pratt. And he showed this little piece of food about the size of a silver dollar. He's like, this is all I got to eat. And I was expecting, when I went to Coastal Weight Loss Secret, either to have that or come out with a bunch of foods that taste terrible and all this stuff. I can eat foods I normally eat. I didn't starve myself and all that. I've been telling you guys, no medications, no shots, no injections, nothing, no pills. And now that I'm in the maintain phase, I haven't gained an ounce back because I didn't have these big lifestyle changes of what I ate or exercise or pills or injections, and I haven't gained the weight back. Give them a call, 561-247-6300, 561-247-6300, and online, coastalweightlossecret.com. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm from Margate.
Hey, Margate.
All right. Listen, you were speaking about Joseph Goebbels a couple of times this week. Remember?
Joseph Goebbels, yes. Okay. I know who he is. I don't remember talking about it, but oh, yeah, the propaganda minister. Yeah, I've been talking about the liberals with their propaganda. Repeat a lie often enough, people will believe it. Yes, yes.
When I heard when he said that, who do you think it was accusing of lies?
I don't know.
The Jews in America.
Oh, yeah. 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 All right. Yeah. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call. Margate, Florida. Oh, man. Yeah, that is very true. Now, I wanted to share this with you. This is really disturbing to me. This is in Mediaite. MAGA melts down over Democrat senator calling Trump a threat to democracy. And this is the Democrat senator from Michigan, Elisa Slotkin. Okay, let me play what she said. Okay, let's go here. Oh, hold on, I got to pull. I don't have it queued up. This is, here we go.
Among Democrats is, how do you answer the following question? Is Donald Trump an existential threat to democracy in his second term? Or is Donald Trump's second term, fly on me,
yeah, well, you know what flies like to stick to.
Now, among Democrats is, how do you answer the following question? Is Donald Trump an existential threat to democracy in his second term? Or is Donald Trump's second term, fly on me, is Donald Trump's second term bad, but like his first term, survivable if we just wait it out, right? And I just want you to know from your senator, as someone who sits in that room on your behalf, I am in camp number one. He is an existential threat to democracy.
Okay. Yeah, that is Democrat Senator Elisa Slotkin. And I got to tell you, I'm a little nervous talking about this. She's CIA, and she's proud of it. That's the only time I heard her speak that she doesn't mention she's CIA. She was recruited for the CIA when she was in college. You can look this up online. She brags about it all the time. And I don't believe people from the intelligence community should be serving in Congress. I think you should be forbidden from service. And I mean, we've had people that have been agents and directors like George Bush 1 and stuff. But when you have someone who's in the CIA, who's now a U.S. senator, she was in the House before, calling Trump an existential threat to democracy, that tells you that the deep state war against President Trump continues. They just find other ways to do it. It's pretty scary. And if you look up her bio, she's the job she. Let me go through this just a little bit, just so you can know what President Trump has to deal with. Her parents got divorced, by the way, and this is, listen to this. This is crazy. Okay. She lived on a family farm in Michigan. Her great-grandfather is from Minsk. He came to America from Russia in 1900. So I don't even know, should we be trusting people that are granddads were Russian? But anyway, her family farm was part of the high-grade meat company founded by her great-grandfather who came from Russia. That's the company behind the creation of the Ballpark Frank family. Okay, the ballpark, the hot dogs, the people that made hot dogs mainstream. And, you know, I talk about this a lot. Most people that are on national news or in Congress, they're all connected. And if your family is part of the Ballpark Frank founding, you're connected. This is one of the reasons they don't like Trump, because he's not part of their club. Her parents divorced. In fact, this is in her Wikipedia. Her mother divorced her father and came out as gay in 1986. And she was raised in her mom's lesbian household, okay? Her father was they say, a longtime Republican, big supporter of President Reagan. But she became a Democrat because she says of Reagan's indifference to the widespread suffering of those with AIDS, which greatly affected her. Now, you know, give me a break. First off, you know, when Reagan was president, AIDS was new. There were no treatments. You got AIDS, you were dead. There was no treat. Now, people get AIDS, they live HIV, they live a long life. Maybe they live a normal life, right? Back then, that was it. It was like Michael Landon with the stomach cancer, right? But listen to this. This is when it gets interesting, okay? She went to Cornell University. She was a community organizer for something called Roca Incorporated, and was a Swahili language translator in Boston, right? Then she went back to school and studied Arabic at the American University in Cairo, Egypt, where she learned to speak Arabic and earned a Master's of International Affairs from Columbia University, which is the center of so much of the troubles, right? Yeah. So she speaks Arabic. She was educated at Columbia University. And when she was in college, she got recruited by the CIA. She did an internship at the Department of State and was an intelligence briefer for the CIA. She was an assistant on the staff of the Director of National Intelligence. She was the leader of a CIA assessment team in Iraq. She was on the National Security Council staff. She was a senior advisor on Iraqi policy at the U.S. State Department. She was eventually an undersecretary. This woman, and she's not even 50, and I only gave you a fraction of her resume. She's a senator now. She's deep CIA, and she's out there calling the president an existential threat to democracy. This is part of the deep state coup that continues against our president. And I don't even think I should probably even be talking about her. It's scary. Isn't that scary? Yeah. But the deep state coup continues, even though Trump's back in the White House. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. We'll take our break and be right back.
Making morning radio great again. It's the Steve Kane Show.
multi flight coming up August 7th through the 10th. Win big with August high hands every 15 minutes, every day, a $15,000 cash giveaway, and $100,000 progressive weekends. Plus, mega bad beat chatbots and table games. Poker thrills this August. For more fun, go to bbkennelclub.com.
This is Dr. Philip Appleton. You guys have been hearing me on the radio for years, and everybody knows whoever comes to my office, I care about you 100%. We are treating auto accidents. In an auto accident, there's a lot of things that occur in an accident. Anywhere from headaches, neck pain, shoulder pain, arm pain, elbow pain, wrist pain, knee pain, elbow pain, sciatica. People use the word whiplash all the time. That's it for neck pain. Come in for an evaluation. Let me look at you. Let me evaluate you. And then we'll go from there. Auto accidents, Uber, and Lyft accidents, we do take care of. And also slip and falls. So if you have any issues, give me a call or come into my office. There's always no cost for the consultation.
Call Dr. Appleton and take advantage of that no-charge consultation right now. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. Online, AppletonCairo.com, and say bye-bye to your pain.
Hormone replacement therapy is all natural and can restore your hormones to where they were in your 20s. You'll feel younger, have more energy, and even get your sex drive. And for women, hormone replacement pellet therapy can completely stop and reverse the signs and symptoms of menopause. No more mood swings, better sleep, and no more night sweats. Call Dr. Matez for a free consultation today at 561-320-8893. That's 561-320-8893.
We're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, this is Hank from Hollywood. How you doing?
All right, Hank. What's on your mind?
I called Tom Laporta at Tom Laporta Roofing. He sent out Scott. Now, Scott is absolutely the best. Scott and Scott's crew are the absolute best. They gave me a great price. They did the job when they said they were going to do it. They finished the job when they said they were going to do it. The materials they used, absolutely the best. I want to thank Tom. I definitely want to thank Scott. And definitely want to thank Scott's crew. These people are #1. And I just want your listeners to know, Tom Laporta at Tom Laporta Roofing. If you need a new roof, call Tom at Tom Laporta Roofing. You're not going to go wrong. You're not going to be disappointed.
Do what Hank did. Call Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing on his cell phone. 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaRoofing.com.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 49 years on the air.
All right, we're back. Call us on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Steve from Chicago.
Hey, Chicago. What's up?
So, like, I don't know if you see videos every once in a while about deportations and everything that are happening, and it's great, right? And so I know you've been posting some positive messages. That's great. I just want you to know, I always, when I see a video on deportations, and they'll have some negative people saying, oh, this is bad, this is bad. You know, I always make a comment like, I think, you know, Donald Trump should be on Mount Rushmore. Donald Trump should in the room.
Are you in the hospital? Or are you in a nursing home or the hospital?
Yeah, I'm in my nursing home.
Oh.
You know, I'll make a comment like Donald Trump should be on Mount Rushmore.
Yep.
And I'll get at least 10 to 50 people liking it, and I'll always get like 2 to 10 comments saying, absolutely, this is the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah, and is Mount Rushmore is in South Dakota, right, or is it in North Dakota? I can never get the two straight. Could you imagine how many people? I would never go to South Dakota to see this, but if Trump was there, I'd go see it.
Well,
I'd go to South Dakota.
Yeah, right. I understand, but I just make the little comment. And some people will say, oh, that's crazy, it's too early to say something like that, or you know, but, you know, I just wanted to say that I get some hot.
All right. Well, that's good. All right. Well, take care. The nurse is looking for you. All right. Take care. Take care. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian. It's me, Christopher.
Okay.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. Another one. What, you notice all these guys sound alike.
Listen, you're embarrassing me. I had to call. Listen, why are you always masculinity? Come on, Jesus. You know, the Publix manager, oh, he's not masculine enough for me.
No, what I said was this, okay? And I went to Publix yesterday, and they have the pictures of the managers on the wall in the customer service area. And the store manager, I would not have known he was a man if it didn't have his name underneath. It was like Pat from Saturday Night Live. I've never seen such an effeminate, androgynous public store manager before. Yeah.
Maybe he just can't keep up with treatments like you. Maybe he doesn't have as much as you do. You know.
No, a Publix manager is rich. I've got an uncle who's been a Publix manager for like 40 years. Publix managers retire millionaires sometimes. They make a lot of money, Publix managers. They're very well paid. I remember my uncle was making 6 figures a year in the early 90s as a Publix store manager. They make a lot of money.
He has not been keeping up on his shot.
Oh, so you want to mention me with hormones again? That you said that once. You're out of material, so you're like repeating yourself now. Watch now will come profanity, so I have to hang up on him.
For someone to be throwing stones like that, we don't even know which way you're going.
Okay, who's the we? And why are you interested? I promise you, I'm not going the way that you go ever.
That's not what you said at the rest stop.
Really? What rest stop was that?
Oh, please, I don't want to.
No, you said you saw me at a rest stop doing something. What rest stop was this?
Okay, you're asking for it. Northbound.
Northbound and.
Sports car.
No, I don't have a sports car, and my cars are not. None of my cars are red. I think you know what this was. You know what this was your fantasy. And he mentions a place I've mentioned on the air a couple times too, Port St. Lucie. I mean, you can't even think of a real place that you've been. I think what I heard was your fantasy of me in some red sports car in a rest stop. Take care. My goodness, can I have a woman fantasize about me, please? My wife will not mind. All these guys, my whole life. Oh my goodness, you know. Steve's not going to be happy if I tell this story. Steve Kane used to have this. If he still had it, it would be worth so much money. Steve Kane had a Toyota Supra, one of the big souped-up ones too. I mean, if Steve still had his Supra, it would be worth more than a lot of people's homes. And I don't know what possessed him to do this. He loaned his Supra to a guy at the radio station we were at the time, which was very strange. And the guy that he loaned it to was gay. You know what he did with Steve's Supra? Because he told me. I couldn't believe it. And I told this to Steve. I said, don't loan this guy your car ever again. You know what he did in Steve's Supra? He had sex with another guy in it. Can you imagine? Now, that was a red sports car, and it was very nice. Maybe that's why Steve got rid of the car. I don't know. But, oh my goodness. Do you know that guy, by the way, has been on hold for over 1 hour? That guy was been on hold since about 6:30 this morning for that. All right. I want to talk about Jupiter Joe Thomas. You know, I'm at that age now where I'm starting to know people that are retiring. Do you know what, and this is just my experience, okay, from friends of mine. But do you know what the number one reason people don't retire is, what they're waiting for? You know what they're waiting for? They're waiting to have, not just their Social Security or something, they're waiting to have enough monthly income coming in so that they can retire. And I have one friend His daughter grew up, and him and his wife had gotten divorced many years before, but he had bought the house before, and this was right before I met Joe Thomas, and he sold his house, and he bought a new house and paid cash, but his house was worth a boatload of money because he moved into another part of Florida and everything else, and he put the money in a couple of annuities, and he had that money coming in every month from the annuities, and he still does. And he retired a little bit earlier than he expected to because he needed that income coming in. And with the annuities, he had the income coming in. So I bet you, Joe's going to be here later in the show. I want to ask about this because I bet you a lot of you out there can retire earlier than you realize, because with an annuity with Jupiter Joe Thomas, you've got that guaranteed revenue stream coming in for the rest of your life, and that'll give you that money you need to be able to pay your bills when you are retired. Give Joe Thomas a call. It's a no-charge consultation. And remember, the commissions are paid by the insurance company, not you. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And online, jupiterjoe.com. We'll be right back.
Truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
When you need lab work, don't waste hours and hours waiting at the doctor's office or one of those big labs. Go to Any Lab Test Now at Boca and Any Lab Test Now at Coral Springs. Their prices are guaranteed to be the lowest you'll find anywhere. No appointment, doctor's order, or prescription is needed, and you're in and out in 15 minutes or less. They offer every lab and blood work your doctor can order. They even have drug testing and STD testing. Take control of your health care and visit Any Lab Test Now at Boca and Any Lab Test Now at Coral Springs. There's lots of Any Lab Test Nows around, but these are the only two advertising on our radio station. So don't use the rest. Only go to Any Lab Test Now at Boca and Any Lab Test Now at Coral Springs. And make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio.
Hey, my True Oldies listeners, John Tesh here with some intelligence for your retirement this time. When you're looking for a retirement advisor, you know trust and experience are two big qualities to look for. And as it turns out, my friend Jupiter Joe Thomas possesses both of these. Whether you're in retirement or looking to retire, I want you to give local expert Joe Thomas a call. Here's the number, 561-743-0999. Or, even simpler, you can go to jupiterjoe.com. Mention my name, John Tesh. You'll receive a free copy of Joe's book, Retirement Know-It-All. Great book. Call 561-743-0999. Or remember, go to jupiterjoe.com. That's jupiterjoe.com.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now,
All right, and it's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Morning, Brian. How?
I'm doing well. What do you have for us today?
Well, I want to talk about, first of all, a lot of people think that, I need to do a will, I need to do a trust, I need to get my estate planning done. I'll get around to it. And, because there may not feel like there's any rush to do it. Of course, the deadlines are, our lifetimes. We need to do it, before we pass, of course. And also before, God forbid, we become incapacitated, which unfortunately happens. So those are some of the things that could happen, and certainly you want to make sure you have your documents in place before then. One of the important documents that people need to have is a power of attorney. Power of attorney is a document that's going to help you during your lifetime in case you're unable to make your own decisions related to financial issues or business issues or even legal issues. So you could name somebody who could step into your shoes. And between that, and if you also, if you do a trust and you name a successor trustee in your trust, those things can help you avoid guardianship, which is a process that, of getting the courts involved in determining who is going to handle your affairs for you during your incapacity. But by having a power of attorney and by having a revocable living trust, naming a successor trustee who could step in during your lifetime, during incapacity, you can avoid having the court get involved at all, avoid having some judge who doesn't know you or your family or your situation choose who that person would be. You could choose that person yourself just by having the document prepared and signing it, and then you have the peace of mind that taking care of your family doesn't have to whole process, hire attorneys, and deal with that whole mess. So
yeah,
it's important to make sure that you get these things done and get them done. Don't wait. Just get them.
Mm. Yeah, and a lot of time, if it has to go to court and they appoint someone as your guardian and they're making your financial and health decision, all the politics and the ins and outs of everybody in the family, and somebody could get all dressed up in front of that judge, and all of a sudden they're in charge of everything, but they might be the one that's got that addiction issue that you would never want in charge of it. The judge doesn't know. It can be a mess if because the judges doesn't know the backstory on everybody. So I don't know how they determine who's the right person, Barry. Really.
About it. That's why you want to have certainty and choose who you trust, whose judgment you trust, who you trust to handle your financial affairs for you the rest of your life. I mean, if you get the wrong person in there, even if it's family, that could be a disaster. Whether they have their own problems, like you said, addiction, or maybe they're just dishonest. They're good for their own needs.
That's right.
So that for the person.
Well, listen, give the Siegel Law Group a call. And remember, it's a no-charge in-office consultation if you mention you heard Attorney Barry Siegel on the program. The number is toll-free, 855-FLA-3782, 855-FLA-3782, and online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel will finish out the week tomorrow. All right, take care. Speaking of this into life stuff, did you hear this thing about the organ donations and Bobby Kennedy that he was bringing up the other day? This scared the daylights out of me. I'm not an organ donor on my. Are you an organ donor? Oh, go change that. Take that off. Bobby Kennedy is changing the way they do organ donations, or I should say, organ harvesting in the hospitals. And apparently hospitals have been doing some organ harvesting a little too early when the person wasn't really dying yet. And there was a woman, I couldn't believe, after Bobby Kennedy announced this, they're changing the whole thing on how hospitals do the organ harvesting. This woman woke up. They were about to harvest her organs and she woke up. I'm not kidding. It was a real story in a hospital. And this is very normal. I am not an organ donor. My wife is not an organ donor, and I would not want to. I don't trust that. I know they told me when I took anatomy in college, which I dropped because I was the only person in anatomy that wasn't going to college to be a nurse, doctor, or paramedic, and I just couldn't keep up with it. But they were talking about organ harvesting when people donate. And they said that before they will take an organ, I don't believe this at all. They said before they would take an organ from someone, they put frozen water in the ear. And even a comatose person, when you put frozen water in the ear, will have a reaction. Do you really think they do that? Where do they get this frozen water? No, I am not an organ donor, and I never will be one. And when Bobby Kennedy was talking about this the other day, it scared the daylights out of me. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, Jeff from Maine.
Hey, Jeff. What's up?
Hey, I agree with you about the organ donation. When I was in that rear-end accident, I was just put on morphine and laid there for a week, and they couldn't get my, pulse up at all. And I think they were hoping I died to harvest my organs, and I had organ donor on my car, my license.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, take that off, Mike. You never, and I think that they try to talk people into it, talk the family into it. Well, Jeff from Maine, he's not doing too good. He at least his eyes and heart and lungs and kidneys, they can live on in other people. He could save the lives of 20 other people. Even and then people say, okay, take him. No, I don't trust any of that.
Yeah, I don't either. But, RFK is doing a lot. I think there's so much going on with President Trump's cabinet, and every position The press they don't know what to do. They are completely unhinged. They don't know what to do. He's winning and winning and winning, and he said he was gonna. He's doing everything he told us he'd do. We are on a full throttle train, MAGA storming through, and I can't wait for the midterms. I think that's going to be the tell-all of how well he's doing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Jeff, I appreciate the call. Oh, I want to share this with you because let me pull this up. Hold on. Let me pull this up because there's a lot of people are talking about this, and I don't want you guys to think I'm shying away. Where did I have? Okay. President Trump was talking about the illegals on the farms, and what he said is the left all of a sudden are in favor of deportations because they got to disagree with everything Trump says. But Trump made some good points. This is an interview that the president gave on CNBC. Listen.
Back in legally, and we're doing things that are very difficult to do and very complex, but it works really well. We're sending them back, and then they're schooling, they're learning, they're coming in legally. We have a lot of that going on, but we're taking care of our farmers. We can't let our farmers not have anybody, these people, you can't replace them very easily. People that live in the inner city are not doing that work. They're just not doing
I got a
that
sneeze
work.
coming.
And they've tried, we've tried, everybody tried. They don't do it. These people do it naturally. I said, what happens if they get a farmer the other day? What happens if they get a bad back? He said, they don't get a bad back, sir, because if they get a bad back, they die. I said, that's interesting, isn't it? These are very, in many ways, they're very, very special people.
Okay, so the left are calling President Trump a racist, talking about these farm workers, and what he said there. One of the biggest issues in the country today are food prices, right? One of the biggest issues. We have tens of millions of illegals in the country to deport. The last ones you want to deport are the farm workers, because if we deported all the farm workers, the prices of food that's already too high, even though they've come down, they're still too high. It's going to drive the price of food up. So, what President Trump's talking about is not a complete free pass and allow illegals to be farm workers forever. But what he's saying is we don't have anybody to replace them. I mean, and on top of it, it would drive up food costs. So we've got tens of millions of people to deport. Let's save those guys for last. What's wrong with that? I mean, you want to prioritize who you deport. And he is right when he says, he doesn't mean that they'll die because they're not working. What he means is there's such hard workers, the idea of being injured and not working would kill them, is what he means, because they have such a strong work ethic. And the left, all of a sudden, the liberals are in favor of deportation. Of farm workers, because President Trump's going a little soft on the farm workers. But I mean, think about it. If the farm workers are probably some of the easiest people to deport, right? For all kinds of reasons. But also, what would the effect be on the economy right away if the farm workers were all deported? Now, if you're on hold, stand by. Did you hear what happened at the schools in New Jersey? This is crazy. This is a local news story out of Virginia. Well, just let me play it. If you're on hold, hang in there, and it explains it. But turn your radios up. You're going to want to hear this. Listen, this is scary. Imagine if this was your child at school.
Yeah, the story has been spreading like wildfire on social media. A report that says school officials at Fairfax County Centerville High School arranged and bankrolled abortions for girls back in 2021 without so much as a phone call to their parents. The report says 2 pregnant high school girls were involved, at least one of them under 18 years old. I reached out to Fairfax County Public Schools about these claims, and FCPS told me they immediately launched what they're calling a comprehensive investigation into the bombshell claims. and that they take all concerns of student well-being very seriously. I asked whether district personnel ever arranged abortions for students, and if they did so in this case. FCPS said not to their knowledge. I also asked FCPS if it's their policy not to inform parents if a student comes to a teacher or other school employee asking about an abortion. They pointed me to a document that outlines the district's...
Okay, look, I looked at the... I didn't realize we only had a few seconds left till the top, so I don't have time to comment on this. So I'll take our break for the top. I'm going to rewind it and play the beginning of it again for people that are just tuning in after the 8 o'clock hour. I just wasn't looking at the clock. If you're on hold, stand by. This is insanely sick, and I want to talk about it in a little more detail than 20 seconds would give me. So call us on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. We'll take our break for the top and be right back after this.
WSFS 104.3 HD3 Miramar. WFLM 104.7 HD3.
A service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. BBKC is the place to be this week. Poker, table games, super OTV action, and incredible dining at the paddock. Watch and wager on the top tracks from around the country, including big races from New York, Kentucky, and California. Don't miss Saratoga racing now through September 1st. The paddock brings you 140+ HD TVs, giant screens, mouth-watering food, a full bar, and service that makes you feel like a winner.
I wish I would have saved that call. Yeah.
Listen to Richie the Bus Driver. Go see Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. 954-922-4633. 954-922-4633.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Craig here. When it comes time to get my blood work done, I don't have time to spend hours in the doctor's office or waiting hours to wear those big lines. That's why having your annual lab test out of Boca and annual lab test out of Cool Springs for all in Colorado. Their techs are highly skilled and professional, and their prices are guaranteed to be the lowest on lab work you'll find anywhere. Appointments aren't necessary. Doctor's orders and prescriptions, they're not needed either. I'm in and out in 15 minutes or less. And get the results the next day or even. And also see to my doctor. There's lots of Any Lab Test Nows around, but these are the only two advertising on our radio station. So don't use the rest. Only go to Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. Any Lab Test Now of Boca is in the Sandalfoot Plaza. That's where the Western Beef is, between Palmetto Park Road and Hillsborough Boulevard on the east side of State Road 7, 441. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs is on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood by the Coral Square Mall. Call Any Lab Test Now of Boca at 561-237-5009. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs number is 954-906-5983. And don't forget to mention that you heard about them on the radio.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show.
All righty. The third hour has begun. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. If you're on hold, stand by. Okay, I'm going to start this over again because I shouldn't have done this before the top. This is a local news story out of Virginia about what some school teachers did in Virginia. This is nuts.
Yeah, the story has been spreading like wildfire on social media. A report that says school officials at Fairfax County Centerville High School arranged and bankrolled abortions for girls back in 2021 without so much as a phone call to their parents. The report says 2 pregnant high school girls were involved, at least one of them under 18 years old. I reached out to Fairfax County Public Schools about these claims, and SCREENLESS told me they immediately launched what they're calling a comprehensive investigation into the bombshell claims, and that they take all concerns of student well-being very seriously. I asked whether district personnel ever arranged abortions for students, and if they did so in this case. FCPS said not to their knowledge. I also asked FCPS if it's their policy not to inform parents if a student comes to a teacher or other school employee asking about an abortion. They pointed me to a document that outlines the district's standard operating procedure for that kind of situation. It says, quote, every effort shall be made to encourage and support students suspecting pregnancy to discuss their concern with their parents or guardians. But to be clear, nowhere in that document does it require school staff or even suggest that they contact parents. We will stay on top of this investigation. Check here for updates and online at WJLA.com.
Okay, all right. You know, the news just sucks today. All right? There's a lot of information missing from that. And, you know, they don't even ask these questions. And why aren't they in front of the school waiting for the principal out in the parking lot and asking the principal these questions? These are former students of a high school, so now they're at least 18, so they're adults. They should be seeking them out. My first question is, what is the gender of the teachers that took the girls for the abortions? Was it a male or female teacher? That's first question. Second question is, was it the same teacher with both girls, or was it 2 different teachers with both girls? And what was the gender of those teachers? And what I'm wondering is there a teacher who's covering up their statutory raping of students? Wouldn't you like to? I mean, W whatever you are. It says 7 News on your side. They got a bunch of idiots that don't even know how to ask basic questions as a reporter. I guess the reporters have just been so, they just don't have them anymore. But wouldn't it be interesting? Is it the same teacher that took both girls for the abortions? Is it a male or female teacher? Were the teachers covering up them impregnating? You know, when Lila Rose, Lila Rose did this with James O'Keefe before James O'Keefe was famous. You guys remember Lila Rose? Lila Rose was amazing. She's still around, and I'm sure she's still amazing. But she was young at the time, but she looked like she was 15. And she would go with a hidden camera that James O'Keefe set her up with. She'd go into abortion clinics all over the place and film them, tell them she was 15, 14, and impregnated by a guy in his 20s or 30s, and they'd give her an abortion. You know, is there a teacher who's a man who's covering up his rapes of students? You know, and it's also another thing when you get older, how you have such a different perspective. When I was a kid, there was a movie. When I tell you who starred in the movie, you'll know this is an old movie. There was a movie starring Nick Nolte was the star of the movie. Nick Nolte. Do you know who Nick Nolte is? Yeah, Mike doesn't even know who Nick Nolte is. He was in 48 Hours with Eddie Murphy. He used to be a movie star, Nick Nolte. And it was a movie called Teachers. It starred Nick Nolte. The second lead was Jo Beth Williams from Poltergeist, okay? And Judd Hirsch from Taxi was in the movie. And who's the name of the actress that's in the original Jurassic Park? Do you remember her name? I forgot her name. She is the daughter of a famous actor from the 70s. I cannot even remember her name, but it was the woman from the original Jurassic Park, was a high school student, and Ralph Macchio from The Karate Kid was in the movie too. It was called Teachers. And I watched the movie a few times when I was young, because mainly it was for older people. I was kind of young for this movie, but they filmed the movie at the high school that my dad went to in Columbus, Ohio, so I watched it, Teachers. And they have this story. Nick Nolte is a teacher with tenure who just does whatever the heck he wants to do, and he's got tenure, so you can't fire me. And they have this storyline where there was a student who graduated from the high school who's suing them, a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. Laura Dern, that's who it is, Laura Dern. Okay, Laura Dern is a high school student in this movie, Teachers. And it's so weird, this story here, how your life, when you grow up, you have a different perspective. So I was too young for the movie, like I said, but I watched the movie because my dad went to the high school they filmed it at, so I watched the movie. But they have this storyline where this guy is suing the school district because he graduated and he can't read. And Nick Nolte was one of his teachers. And he's like, what are you going to do? I got tenure. You can't fire me. I'm graduating illiterates. And I mean, and he looks like a jerk throughout most of the movie. And Laura Dern from Jurassic Park is a high school student in one of his classes, and she got pregnant by the gym teacher. So Nick Nolte takes her to get an abortion, and he gets fired for it, even though he's got tenure. And the way the movie ends, I remember this. He's walking out of this. He's like a hero who's been redeemed. He's graduating illiterate students, but because he took Laura Dern, who was like 16, to get an abortion, he's a hero, and he walks out a hero, you know, even though he was being fired. He got fired, but he did the right thing. He's a champion. And when I was a kid, when I saw that movie, because you think of things like a kid, and I'm like, oh man, Laura Dern, whatever. I didn't know who Laura Dern. Nobody knew who Laura Dern was then. It was long before Jurassic Park. But I mean, her parents are jerks. You know, why are her parents giving her such a hard time for getting pregnant? I don't understand. I couldn't understand why her parents were so angry at her. You know, and then Nick Nolte took her to get the abortion in the movie. And it never, for the life of me, did I ever imagine that I would see a story where that was true life, where a high school teacher took a student to get an abortion. I mean, you have to be really insane to do that. You know, why would a high school girl in 2025, you know, and these are former students, but it had to be in the 2020s, but it seems to be pretty recent. Why would a girl in Virginia in the 2020s be getting a secret abortion and enlist a school teacher to help them? This is not the 80s or the 70s or anything. There's really, obviously there's, you know, the parents probably would not be happy. I mean, you know, but she's not going to be sent off to a nunnery or something, a convent, and all. They're not going to make her have the baby, and they take the baby from her, and then she has to live her days in the convent. It's not going to be like that. And my guess would be, for a teacher to take multiple girls to get abortions, you've got one of a couple types. You've got a predator teacher who's impregnating his students, and he's covering up his crimes because once the abortion happens, there's no DNA. That's one possibility. Or you've got one of these green hair, blue hair, trans flag waving in the classroom teachers who's one of those lunatic teachers. And, you know, when I go through the news, there's certain stories that are just humongous stories that everyone in the nation should be talking about. This is one of them. Okay? Out of all the stories in the news today, this is the biggest story in the news today, and no one's reporting it. It's a local story that I found online out of Virginia, and the local news in Virginia has the story, but that was some of the weakest reporting I've ever seen. It was really presented almost as filler, where they have some press release from the school district and some emails about from the policy handbook. You know, in the old days, they'd be out in the parking lot waiting for the principal. 2 girls had abortions. Was the teacher male or female? Do you know of any other girls that have had abortions and gone to the clinic driven by this teacher? Was the teacher the father? They'd yell these questions out. But they don't do that anymore, and no one's covering this story because the media, the television media, is still very liberal, and this doesn't fit their agenda. And the media look at this story, the liberals look at this story like I looked at teachers when I was like 10 with Laura Dern. Oh man, what jerks her parents are. You know, Nick Nolte did the right thing taking that girl to get that abortion. Her parents wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? That's how liberals think. They think like children, like I was a child. They think like children. And the reporters, these reporters are, this is journalistic malpractice, this local news story. If you're on hold, stand by. I want to tell people about the free doorbell camera offer from Slomin's. And I want to highlight, this is a limited time offer, guys. Okay? You can get a free doorbell camera that connects directly to your smartphone, your cell phone, whatever, if it's Apple or you have whatever phone you have. With the installation of your Slomin Shield. Slomin's is also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. You get an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts, a lifetime warranty, a backup battery, plus you'll get a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Slomin Shield. Give them a call, toll free, 833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. That's 833-283-5050. We'll be right back.
Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane
Now, I'd like to hear your thoughts on that story. I mean, that... Oh.
Hey, it's Scott.
I'd like to hear your thoughts on that story. That is a really sick story. It really, isn't it? Is that not a sick story?
I'm not a doctor, but what I saw today were a lot of healthy people.
Say goodbye to your neuropathy symptoms. Call Lighthouse Medical Center for a free consultation. 754-222-6642.
We're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's Hank from Hollywood. How you doing?
All right, Hank. What's on your mind?
I called Tom Laporta at Tom Laporta Roofing. He sent out Scott. Now, Scott is absolutely the best. Scott and Scott's crew are the absolute best. They gave me a great price. They did the job when they said they were going to do it. They finished the job when they said they were going to do it. The materials they used, absolutely the best. I want to thank Tom. I definitely want to thank Scott, and definitely want to thank Scott's crew. These people are #1. And I just want your listeners to know, Tom Laporta at Tom Laporta Roofing. If you need a new roof, call Tom at Tom Laporta Roofing. You're not going to go wrong. You're not going to be disappointed.
Do what Hank did. Call Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing on his cell phone, 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaRoofing.com.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM.
All righty, we're back. Our number 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning.
Yeah, Rich.
Spoiler alert out there to everyone. I know Brian. Brian is not gay, and if he was gay, it's none of your damn business.
I'm not. But if I'm not, okay, that's nice. I mean, can you imagine what this guy's like in a bar fight? I'm not gay, but if I am and in the closet, but if I am and I'm in the closet, it's my own business. Oh, that's great, Richie. That's very nice defense. Thank you.
No, there's a reason I brought that up, because it has to do with, I don't care what anyone is, okay? What I have a problem with is that creep that called you up that sounded more like a woman than Rachel Maddow, who sounds more like a man. See, you're born into a situation where you're either a man or a woman, a boy or a girl, and if you choose to be, if you're a boy and choose to be a woman, you don't have to be out in public and try to woman than a woman is.
Yes.
But you brought about Fort Pierce. I live close to Fort Pierce, by the way, and they just.
You could you know what? You could end up on, like, you're in that jury pool area. You could end up on. They have an age restriction on jury members.
Yeah, 70. Once you're over 70, you're no longer on a jury. So.
Really, I did not know that.
Yeah. They don't want us to think we're wrong like Joe Biden. So the fact is that
you could become an ICE agent. You know, there's no age restriction on ICE agents now. They just lifted that.
I would love that. Hey, listen, you got a Port St. Lucie commissioner just arrested. By the way, you talked about just arrested for trying to pick up a young girl online, and now a guy sitting in jail.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, this. Oh yeah, you didn't see that on the news? There's a big story in Florida. I got it out of WPEC. Palm Beach. So that's number one. Number two, Fort Pierce crime has come down since Republicans are involved there. So, I mean, the crime rate, it used to be heavy there. It's really getting...
Yeah, you know, this thing about these creeps online, like this guy you're talking about, wouldn't you assume, if you're talking, these guys, I guess their urges, they overtake their logic. Wouldn't you assume it was a cop? I mean, come on. What underage girl is going to be online trying to have sex with adult men? I mean, you should just assume they're a cop. You might as well just drive to the jailhouse.
Good.
Well, what's he going to do? They got all the evidence. They got all the evidence.
We're living in a world, and that's what I was going to say. You brought up this abortion deal here. We're living in a crazy world, man. I mean, this is all because we've let these crazy people on the Democratic Party, basically, and they've changed the party around to where they're in charge now. They got into our way of life. This story of the teacher taking the two girls on separate instances for abortions, while we don't know much. I mean, if I had to bet on it, I would say it was a male teacher covering up statutory rape, right? I mean, you would know, as a teacher, to take a girl to get an abortion that's a big no-no. That's and in this day and age, you can't do crime without it being caught on videotape anymore. So there's all kinds of traffic cameras. I'm sure, wherever they went for the abortion, they have cameras all over the place because they hate protesters and everything else. So that's a very high risk crime for a teacher to take. Let me say this to you. It's happening very frequently now with these teachers getting involved with students. It's all over the news, at least down here. And my contention is this. If I had a young daughter that had to go to a public school or even a private school,
I believe it should be like a doctor's office where you have to have a nurse in there with the teacher, because there's things going on there. And,
You know, when my daughter was in high school, she was in a club, this one particular club, and they had a party, and I picked her up from the party, and there was a school teacher there from the high school. I couldn't believe it, and I thought, what the heck is this? It was a male teacher. I'm like, is he out of his mind? What's he associating with high? You know, I mean, yeah. Not only can you not do it, even if you're straight and above the board, it gives the illusion of a problem. You know what I mean? No one would do that. That's a normal person. Now, I don't want to say what this is specifically, but I don't know why you did that thing you did yesterday. I don't want you to say what it is. I'm not going to say what it is, and I probably shouldn't even say it on the air. But you did something yesterday during the show. I don't know why you did that. You've got my cell phone number. You could have texted me. That wasn't you? No, it wasn't about calling me. You text me after the show. Text me after the show. Maybe it wasn't him. Yeah, why would you do that? I don't know why you did that. Now I pulled the confession out of him. You knew, when I said that, you had no idea what I was referencing when I first brought that up. Come on. Why'd you do that?
because I was blocked for it.
Why would you are one of a handful, people that go on our cruises, most of you end up getting my cell phone number, because we're coordinating on the cruise. So you have my cell phone number. You have texted me multiple times, sometimes at like 5 a.m, which is fine, but you didn't text me yesterday. I didn't get a text message from you. I didn't get a text message from you yesterday. I don't see any text from you. All right. It just seems a little bizarre. It's a little bizarre. I know you wouldn't lie. It was just a strange thing you did. It's just, all right, appreciate the call, Richie. All right, take care. Take care. Now he's going to be really ticked because I didn't let him finish. Oh, my goodness. I'm not going to get into the details of what happened. I was told not to bring it up, but I can't. And I wasn't going to. I almost went to the whole call. But I know everything that goes on, okay, guys? I just don't care about most of it. Oh, my goodness. A little mystery in the audience about what he did. And, that's okay. Mystery is better than knowing everything. Let's take our break. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. I remind you guys, I've been talking this week about the My Pillow, My Slipper sale. They're normally $149.98, 2 cents short of $150. Right now, they're $110 off with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, just $39.98. And that is exclusive to our listeners. And I've been telling you guys, you got to go to our you can call by phone. I'll give you the number. You can call this number I'm going to give you directly that I always give out with My Pillow. But it's not on the main website because this is just a sale just for our listeners. So you have to go to our website, mypillow.com/Kane. It's a / mypillow.com/Kane because it's like a secret sale. And I've been telling you guys all week, order now while they still have your size in stock. And I was really reluctant to say that because it sounds like I'm trying to tease you along. They're running out of sizes like crazy, in particular in the men. So all the women's sizes are in stock except one, and it's a size that you would have to have feet the size of Janet Reno to have. But the women's sizes are fine, but they're starting to run out of some of the men's sizes. So take advantage of this deal while it lasts. It's mypillow.com/Kane, Kane, and use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, or call 1-800-716-4879. You're going to get the My Pillow, My Slippers for $110 off, but they're already starting to run out of sizes. But if you see them out of your size on the website, call the number because that might not be the case. 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. promo code Kane, Kane. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Hey, it's Scott on the radio, reminding you that your favorite oldies are back.
He knew exactly what I was talking about. Liar. Hey, what's going on?
How's it going? And he has a distinct voice, so I wouldn't know.
Pathetic. Did you get that? I texted you the other day. Did you get the video and the thing I sent you?
I did.
Oh, okay, good.
Thank you. But did I give you my new cell? I'll text you my new cell.
Oh, that's not your number anymore?
Well, it is my number, but it's ported to the office now.
Oh.
Yeah, so I have my
Yeah,
numbers.
text me.
I will. How's everything going?
It's going good.
I was listening to this morning. It's like one thing after another.
Oh my gosh, I hadn't even gotten to 10% of my stuff.
I'm going. It sounds crazy. All the stuff going on.
Oh yeah. Did you see it? Did you watch it? They give it to you to see the video?
I don't think I've seen it.
Oh, text me when you're done, and I'll
do it right now. So.
After the show, I'll send it to you. It's on my phone.
Yeah. All good.
Oh.
I heard the Bruce one. That was really good.
Yeah, it's the video version of that one. I did it, and I did it in a way that you can use it on your stuff.
Oh,
I'll explain it to you when I'll text it to you and I'll explain it to you.
Great.
Traffic, a service of the
I couldn't
Too many people had your cell, so you had to port it.
Texts, emails, phones.
You know, my problem is, you know how many people I know that have the same name? You know, I mean, I must Barry, Mike. I got so many. People text me. I don't know which one they are. You know what I mean?
I got a call from a guy at 4:45 in the morning.
Oh.
I forgot to turn my phone off. It wasn't even a client. It's a friend of a client.
Oh my God.
And wants to know what
Is he nuts? Is he in this time zone?
I don't know. I just deleted it.
I hope he's really rich.
I didn't call back, man.
Oh my God, what a nut.
I know. I was like, this is ridiculous.
I could see if there was a client and they had an emergency and they needed some money, you know, and they're in Europe and they don't realize it's 4.
Yeah, 4 in the morning. I get the daughter-in-laws and the son-in-laws to call, and they want to know what their mother-in-laws have.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
When are they gonna get it?
Their mother-in-laws?
And how much? I'm telling you.
That's crazy.
Yep. Crazy stuff.
If I did that, my in-laws would burn me at the stake.
Well, they don't. That's the thing. They don't know about it. And I said, "Do you have permission?" They go, "What permission do I need?"
Exactly.
I'm the son-in-law.
Oh yeah.
Anyway.
I'm the trustee on my mother-in-law's trust. I'm a trustee guy, but if I pulled some act like that, called their brokers.
That's the end of that.
Is there anything particularly you wanted to talk about?
No.
Okay.
I just thought I didn't really plan anything, so we
Okay.
just talk and chat. I can't believe it's August already.
I know.
It's crazy.
It really works. I am pain free from my hand.
Tim Cook was at the White House yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Apple stock went up. I think he's hitting on every cylinder, man. It's just, Trump. I think he's hitting the right way.
Yeah. And that guy's pretty liberal. They had a terrorist phone. They wouldn't help the FBI break into a terrorist phone once and everything else.
But Trump's always wanted.
Now, back
Yep.
to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 49.
All right, we're back, and we have Joe Thomas in the studio. Hey, Joe. You know, I was talking earlier, people, they retire at a particular time for a lot of reasons. But a lot of the guys I know, they're timing their retirement until they have enough money coming in every month. Sometimes they wait for their ex-wife to get remarried, so they don't have that alimony. Yeah. Sometimes they wait for the kids to get out of college. But a lot of people with an annuity, that income they're waiting for, they can have it coming in now.
That's the biggest problem people have. They think it's all about the number, the balance they have in their 401k or the balance they have in their retirement accounts. It's not about that. It's what that turns into in income is what's going to save the day.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. Well, you know, a lot of times people will, they'll do things that are, again, I'm not a financial advisor or planner or anything. That's what Joe Thomas is. So you called Joe. But, you know, you're right about that. People say, okay, I've got this much money in my bank account or 401k or whatever, and this is what my bills are every month, and this can last me this many years, right? That people, I've known people that figure that way.
Yeah.
But with, you know, what wealthy people do is they don't spend down their principal, right? They find ways for the principal to earn money for them, and that's what annuities are.
Sure, you can do an interest only, where you don't touch your principal and you're living off it for the rest of your life.
Yep.
Or you can spend down your money over the rest of your life and have a very good income.
Yeah.
You can do both.
Well, you told me a story about a year ago. This really blew my mind. You had a client who worked at Publix, and they didn't realize that not only could they retire, but they were actually earning more money in retirement than they were working at Publix all day.
Yeah, so people don't realize that if you turn your money into income, sometimes you're making more money than you were at your job. And
Yeah.
this particular person was a cashier, and she worked 30 years as a cashier.
That's amazing.
And she said, "You mean I don't have to work anymore?"
Mhm.
And she said, "I'm making almost the same money, gross, not net, gross." I said, "No." Her and her husband now are traveling. They go all over the place.
Yeah.
And they're enjoying life, you know?
I was talking to someone I know, and they're older than me. They're retired, and they have an annuity,
Yep.
and they said, yeah, the money comes every month. they don't work. It's almost like they can count on it just like they count on their Social Security deposit every month.
So we did a show, we have a show, and we did a radio show last week, and it was called Mailbox Money.
Okay.
And basically what it is, every month you're getting that check in the mail, guaranteed for the rest of your life. Now, people have a hard time understanding what
Yeah.
forever means.
Yeah.
It means until you die, you're getting a check.
That's
And if
amazing.
you pass away, your husband or wife gets the check. Forever.
And you can leave the annuity to your children.
Anything that's left if you want. Now, we got who's more important, you or the kids? If it's the kids, then we do something different.
Yeah.
Like you always say, each person's different.
Yep.
And you know that better than I do.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And we do what's specific to that client.
I know people that are retired that do not have children,
That's true.
or their children are loaded, and they don't need 10 cents.
I have plenty of clients that have their son's a doctor, a lawyer, their daughter is all kinds of things. And sometimes they're more worried about themselves than my kids are fine,
Well, one thing too, I was talking to my mother about this the other day, because my mother's retired, and I say, hey Mom, you just got a $6,000 tax deduction on your Social Security. You're going to get a big refund this year. And if I got and if you're married, it's $12K.
Yeah.
So, I know what I would do if I'm not retired yet. But if my wife and I, if we had the $12,000, because we'd get that as a return. If you're retired on Social Security, not everybody will, but most people would get a return. I would say, hey, let's take $2,000 and take a trip, or buy a new purse, and you give the $10,000 to you.
Sure, we could do that.
And
we have that new one, we were going to talk about that, the 16% bonus. It's
This is massive.
$5,000 minimum you can start with. You get a 12%, about 16% bonus on that one.
Wait a minute. So okay. Now we've talked a lot about. You mentioned this last time you were here. Now this is super amazing. Okay. Now we've talked a lot about this one that you offer that has the 10%. I call it a signing bonus. I don't know if that's the right word.
It is a signing bonus.
Signing bonus. So you get 10% on your money on day one before you're in your car, right? Now you got another one with 16% interest. Now this one's really exciting to me because you only need $5,000.
Exactly, $5,000 to start with, and 16% bonus, and then you can add to it every year, and you can contribute this, your taxes if your tax returns.
Oh, wait a minute. You can add. I did not know this. Okay, so I thought when you got an annuity, however much it was, 5,000, 10,000, 500,000, that was it. But you can add money to annuities?
You can add money.
Really? People do that?
If you do it within the first year, we still give you the bonus.
Really?
So whether it's 10% or 16%, whatever the bonus is given, we'll give it to you for the first 12 months.
I never knew that people do that. They add money to the annuities?
I have a couple of nurses, and they have a problem saving, so what I do is I send them 12 envelopes, postage paid, and the check comes in every month so that we can deposit it for them. Yes, we do that.
Wow. You mean like a regular monthly deposit into the annuity?
Yeah. People have to learn how to build
That's amazing.
money. And the way you build money is by contributing constantly.
Well, that's what one thing I say about you all the time. You're a successful guy, and I don't say this to blow smoke or anything. I talk about Jupiter and everything. People that are successful financially and they know ways like you're talking about here. Guys like you know how money works in ways that people like me don't understand. Like what you just told me, that's an absolutely amazing thing.
That's the key to success, is learning about money.
From people that understand it.
Information and education. That's why we give you the book for free.
Yeah.
When you get a book for free, we mail it to you. It costs us $20. okay?
Yeah.
And we're giving it to free. That's a big deal. I don't know who's mailing books out free. Usually
Now,
charge you.
now your book, The Retirement Know-It-All, I've read your book when we first met. It's very easy to read and filled with all kind of actionable stuff that you want. So if you call Joe's office, they'll send you out the book for free, or you can go to jupiterjoe.com and get the information. But that's an interesting thing. So because what I thought, this is how I thought it worked. You're telling me something different that I never understood before, never knew. You can add money to your annuity because I thought people would just save up and maybe get another annuity.
So we have people that are saving for retirement and people who are in retirement.
Yeah.
Who are going to retire. So
Yeah.
those people want income right away.
Yeah.
But there are some people who are still building and building.
Okay.
And they want to put away as much money. People always say to me, is it too late? It's never too late. I
Yeah.
have people in their 70s, late 70s that do this. And they're building up until they're 80, so their money lasts until they're 100.
Well, people are living a lot longer now.
Exactly. Yep. There's more centurions now than there's ever been in the history of America.
Yeah.
So if you're going to live until you're 100, you better hope that your money doesn't run out before you do.
And you don't want to be. There's so many people living to be in their 90s and 100. It's really amazing, and you don't want to be 94 and be broke all of a sudden.
Yeah. Well, I always say people that are working at Publix, some of them know they're working at Publix and they want to work. The people who have to work there is not a good deal.
Well, I agree that there's no one that wants to be bagging groceries and walking out the cars in the sun that is doing it because they love working. They would find an air conditioned place to work if they loved working. Yeah. But I think a lot of those people don't realize it, but they could make more money in an annuity than they are at that job.
Yeah. And investing your money properly. Don't have that emergency fund sitting there doing nothing. Let me show you how to make that money work for you.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
simple.
yeah. All right, well, listen, give Joe Thomas a call. Now, remember, it's a no-charge consultation, and as you can hear, all different kinds of scenarios we're talking about. So he'll put together a custom proposal based on you and your situation, okay? And his number is 561. And I want to highlight that these are custom proposals, not a cookie-cutter proposal, as you can see with these different situations. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And if you missed the number, just go to jupiterjoe.com. All right, Joe, we'll see you next time. And we're back. And I wanted to share this with you. This is absolutely amazing. This is Bill Hemmer at Fox. And Israel's got a PR problem. I mean, they just got a PR problem. So Bill Hemmer is in Gaza. Did any of you guys see this? This blows my mind. Listen to this. This is Bill Hemmer. He's reporting live from Gaza. Okay, so he saw no starvation. Obviously he didn't see that hostage that they have digging his own grave in Gaza. It was just disgusting. But he's not seeing what we're seeing on television. And that story of the starving baby, was it the New York Times that published that a couple weeks? That was fake. And some of the photos that we're seeing in Gaza, they're being exposed as being fake, doctored, actors in some instances. But see, the problem that Israel has, it's a PR problem. It's the perception. The perception is the starving baby. The perception are the starving people, and Gaza is pretty much obliterated. I mean, it looks like Dresden after the 1945. I get that, maybe even worse in some instances, but they weren't. It just is. We've seen some of it, but the starvation isn't happening. Except for these hostages, according to Bill Hemmer, and that's what he's seen. And when you're in Gaza, they want to show you the worst, and they didn't show him the worst, the propagandist over there. And I don't really think there's anything Israel can do to overcome this. They've either got to make a decision to move ahead or cave, and their plan is to take Gaza back. I remember when Israel handed Gaza over, it was live on CNN. And when Israel controlled Gaza and it was filled with Israelis, it was a beautiful, beautiful place. Do you guys remember this? The handover? And when they handed it over, it was live on CNN. They had cameras everywhere. In the first hour, the whole place was looted. I mean, it was crazy. I remember one instance. There was a greenhouse. It was destroyed within an hour of them getting control of it. And everyone said at the time, this is going to be a launching pad to attack Israel forever, and it is. But when they retake Gaza and hold on to it, it's just going to be nonstop negative war crime stories till doomsday, okay? Israel's never going to get a break. It's just the way it is. And sadly, there's so many people in the media, like Candace Owens and many others, that are anti-Semitic. And even Marjorie Taylor Greene is anti-Israel, which I don't understand at all what her thinking is. And they're just not getting the support that they would normally get from Trump supporting them. But so many conservatives have long been supporters of Israel when there were so many evangelicals running the party. But there's this new wave of anti-Israeli anti-Semitism that's really taking root, unfortunately, in this country. And the negative press that Israel is going to get when they take and occupy Gaza, it's at a level that we will never have seen before. I promise you. Do we have to take a recorded break, Mike? Okay. All right. Let's check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated in Boca with the morning gold and precious metals report. William Youngerman, how the metals looking today?
A little bit of a pullback on gold. Yesterday, the markets closed mixed, with gold trading in a range of $3,357 all the way up to $3,386. Closing out the day down $11.20 at $33.6820. Silver was up 3 cents at $37.76, while platinum gained $18 yesterday at $1,335, and palladium lost $36 at $11.39. Right now, gold trading in a range last overnight, $3,365 on the low to $3,398, right up against that $3,400 number again. And right now, gold is trading at $3,385. That's up $16.80. Silver's up 59 cents at $38.35 the ounce. Platinum's up $5 at $1,340. And palladium is $1,159, up $20. So the markets are doing just fine, still trading in our ranges, but the market's building a very strong base for gold. And with this sideways action like this, we've seen for so long, it's like winding a spring very tight. It's going to go very high very quickly or very low. But the trend seems to be that it should be going much higher.
Hey, every which way is fine with me. If it goes low, you just buy more. If it goes up, you just have some champagne. There's no losing with gold. I think it's I don't know. I don't know if you call it is an investment, but it's one of those investments that I don't think most people that are in the metals worry either which way, because either way it goes is a great day and a great opportunity. Let me ask you. Let me ask you about the coins. When it comes to the 1 ounce coins and the pre-33, are the prices? What are you looking at right now? What's like some of the best deals?
The pre-33 gold is still at the lowest premiums in history. They're just you can literally buy pre-33, much of the pre-33 gold very close to melt. So these are great opportunities for coins made prior to 19.
And that means more gold for your money, and it's really like a collectible. These are pre-33 gold or coins that guys used to walk around in their pockets with and use as money every day until then. Listen, give William Youngerman a call. He opens up at 10 a.m. His number, 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010. His address is 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. And you can find both his address and phone number on his website, WilliamYoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll finish out the week tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day.
All right, take care. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, hey, Jay.
Hey, I haven't listened to you all week this week because I've been busy. And then the first...
Now stop down right there. How many times, Mike, have I told you that people always tell you they never listen, or they haven't listened in such and such time, but they heard something just coincidentally. Yeah. Yeah, I know. But even though you haven't been listening, you just heard something just now.
Just now, just
Okay, what you? I know one of those accidents. Poltergeist turned me on.
now.
Okay, what'd you hear?
Oh, no. Okay, well, listen. You don't know what you're talking about, and you spread things that aren't true. And you just said that them babies aren't starving over in that country that them Jews have totally destroyed. You need to stop spreading rumors that aren't true. Those Jews have destroyed.
Yeah.
Let them people devastated, and they're just deliberately treating them like a bunch of.
See, the thing about so far, let's first talk about the devastation of the buildings. I mean, we won the Second World War because we were fighting to win it, right? Right? That's why we dropped the bombs on Japan, the firebombing of Dresden, bombing Berlin. If you're in a war, unless you want it to go on forever, you got to fight it in a fashion to win it, and you do that by destroying the enemy so that they can no longer have the ability to fight.
Told on yourself just now, because just like you said, you destroy a country when you're fighting.
Gaza's not a country.
It don't matter. Just listen.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
That when the war was won, when we dropped the bomb, them up. People are messed up. But you think they really got running water and food stores and grocery stores? They're starving, you fool.
No, what I was referencing was there was a photograph of a starving baby that was printed in newspaper, and that was a fake photo. It was reported.
Dying.
There's a war there is a war going on, so sadly people are dying in wars, yes.
What? It's disgusting because now that they.
But as you've been sitting back, as you've been sitting back, trying to do some kind of boycott and not call while you're listening, claiming you're not. The idea that you heard me say something positive about Jews and you just lost control and you had to call in.
And nothing about no Jews. Jews just proved to me how that.
All right. Take care. And he's a nice guy. He's a gentleman, right? Oh, my goodness. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, JJ from...
Oh, hey, JJ. Oh, my goodness.
Was that Jersey Jay? Was that...
Yeah, Jay from Jersey, yes.
Jay from Jersey, yeah.
He doesn't listen anymore, but he just happened to accidentally hear me say something. And...
Yeah, exactly. Listen, in Gaza, babies are starving. People are starving, but they've got more food in the tunnels down there than they do in the entire state of Florida. Hamas has been stealing and hoarding the food. The babies, if it bleeds, it leads. They want the sympathy. The babies are dying and starving because Hamas.
Well, I just got some breaking news. It's just been announced by the White House that the president in the next few days is going to be meeting with Putin in person. So that sounds like I would call that a summit meeting.
The two of them need, they need to get together to get rid of all the in between. I mean, the possibilities of it.
Well, part of this thing when Biden was running the show. And I would talk about this. I've never seen an instance when there's been a conflict that Russia was involved in that the president of the United States and the Soviet premier in the old days wouldn't meet and talk about it.
Absolutely. What the Democrats have created in our country and tried to replicate throughout the world is sort of a gas and match, fire, smoke, chaos strategy. That's what Hamas is doing right now. It's all smoke and mirrors, chaos. If you lie long enough, eventually the perception will even change for good people. That lie just eats away at them, and finally you see the baby. And when you see a starving baby, listen, I feel incredibly sad, but I know who the hell is responsible for it. It's Hamas. It's not. But it's like you had a call the other day on your afternoon. Another coup plot on mass, your breaking news. The guy, and he calls into the show. His name's Jack, he was talking about the farmer and how the killing, the farmers are losing this and this and that, and they don't. These people, he's in such a hate box. He can't see the truth to save his life. If you just look at when Trump left office, the diesel, which is a big part of farming, was like $2.68. In 2022, when Biden takes over, in 22 it's $3.72. In 2022.
Well, see, now here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing you gotta understand. If I got a bad connection with you, so I'm gonna let you go. But appreciate the call. Here's the thing. Okay, this guy called me yesterday, and he's like, "Oh, the farmers," and I asked him. They're starting this narrative, and the root of this, because I did some looking at this. This is a Joy Reid thing. Okay. That farmers are losing their farms because of Trump. This is a new narrative that they're trying to get going. And one of the first tells of a fake news story is this. Most farms are owned by families, okay? And I know some of them are corporate owned and the Chinese own a lot, but most of them are owned by families. And I've known farmers throughout my life, being from Ohio originally, a lot of farmers in Ohio. And I mentioned this, one thing I've never met is a poor farmer. The poor farmers went out with grapes of wrath, okay? Farmers are rich. I've known farmers, they are loaded. And the reason they bring in workers to work on the farm, why work when you're rich? They're like the Seminoles. They get their money every month from the casino, right? Why should they work? They got the money coming in every month. But when you can tell that a story like this is a fake news story, this narrative that farmers are losing their farms because of Trump, if that were true, Rachel Maddow and CNN would have farmers on the air interviewing them, telling them how Trump cost them their farm. You understand what I mean? It's a good human interest story, and everyone would like to see it. But they don't show it. They talk about it happening, but they don't show the actual people. That's the first sign that the story's BS. Now, with that being said, people still, even in a good economy, have their cars repoed. They have their homes foreclosed on, and things happen. It's not necessarily the fault of whoever the president is. But now I call BS, completely BS on that story, or we would see it. I want to talk about Friendly Tire in Margate. I've been a customer at Friendly Tire for over 15 years, probably 20 years. And, you can get new tires out the door and on the road for as low as $75 a tire. And I want to stress, as low as $75 a tire, that is for tires that fit the most common cars that are on the road today, okay? Some of the most common ones. And, so it's not like $75 out the door and on the road for a Fiat, that has little golf cart tires. It's for common vehicles. And when I say out the door and on the road, you got to understand this. Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire does not charge you to balance the tire, mount the tire, or dispose of your old tires. Although he has to pay a guy per tire to dispose of them, and it's not cheap. He doesn't charge you anything else. So the price he quotes you over the phone is the final price out the door and on the road. He has all the name brands you know and love too. Thousands of good used tires in stock as well. Give Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire a call. He'll give you a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445. If you got a Tesla, great deals on Tesla tires, and he's got the special tools required for the Tesla. If you got run flats like I do, great deals on run flats. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445 for Friendly Tire in Margate. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Hey, Brian. What's up?
How are you today? Well, I remember we were talking about it when Israel pulled out of Gaza and there were all the protests. This is, several years ago? You wonder from a tactical point of view, this wasn't one of the major blunders Israel has had, if this wasn't really well thought out. This guy, and I mentioned before, this Gaza thing is going to be huge for them. And you wonder how this is going to play out, but...
Well, we used to, those of you that are longtime listeners of the show, there was a woman we used to have, an Israeli, in studio all the time, Shifra Hoffman. I don't know, have you listened long enough to remember Shifra Hoffman? Yeah. Okay. She was pretty hardcore. Look up Maya Kalana, I think is how you pronounce the guy's name, that he was a rabbi who was assassinated in New York. Okay, she was part of his group, okay? So, you know, so she was, you know, she was very, very strong supporter of Israel. And she used to have this phrase that she talked about, you know, about liberal Jews in Israel. You know, they always want to have peace with the Muslims. A piece of this, this little piece of Israel, that little piece of Israel. And you give them enough pieces and all of a sudden they got Gaza and then boom, it's gone. And the reason they got Gaza is because of liberals. There are always liberals who think you can't deal with terrorists. Okay, you give into it. You know, I told you that one time I apologized to someone on the air. Okay, I apologized to someone. I never really will do that again. And what they said was, they said, F you, you got to do it every effing hour. They use those words. I mean, it was anytime you're dealing with a monster or a terrorist, you give them something, they want 10 more things. Okay? If they gave them all of Israel, and all the Jews left Israel, they'd be coming here to South Florida looking for more Jews to kill. They would there's nothing you can do as long as Jews live. These people are going to be trying to kill them, and that's just the I'm out of time, but I appreciate the call. I'm looking forward to this Trump-Putin meeting. I hope they call it a summit and it's a real thing, not meeting for a few minutes at some other conference. I don't know many more details about it yet, but it's coming. It's been announced. All right, tomorrow is Friday. That means open phones, any and everything on your mind's fair game. We call it Open Mic Friday. That's tomorrow. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Make sure you subscribe if you are new. And if you're already subscribed, please like and share the video. All right? Take care, everyone. I got to clear out.